Nice, dude. Breaker Crunchers, welcome to another exciting new episode of Couch Crunchers. As you can see, I have some fantastic guests here tonight. Travis from Comic Exposure. Say hi, Travis.
Hey, guys.
And our friend Matt from Absolute Geek.
Hi, Travis.
Long time no see, Matt.
How's it going, Travis?
Fuck me, right?
I feel like I haven't seen you in ages, Travis.
Matt, what are we talking about today?
I don't know. I don't know whether I'm coming or going right now, so I don't know what's going on.
Which podcast are we on?
Yeah, right.
I know, right?
Anyways,
it's pretty much like
it's the hat trick of podcasting Travis this week. This is number 3.
Yeah.
It's like the same podcast we just film every night. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's how it works.
Continuing my off-air conversation about candies from the 90s that are no longer around. Whatchamacallits now and laters. Do you guys remember Scores? It was a candy bar. It's SKOR. That
with
was
the toffee,
jam, man. Yeah.
That was. They still have.
Really?
Yeah, I see them at Walmart. They still have whatchamacallits and now and laters too.
God, man, I'm just out of the candy game, guys. You know, I gotta get back in this.
They might not have them in Japan, though. I don't know. I'm sure you have other candies that are
just all kinds of weird shit. Yeah.
I have to ask you a serious question real quick, Lance.
What's up?
Off the candy topic. So, what show are we on now? Couch Crunchers, right?
Yes, this is Couch Crunchers.
So what does your hat say?
Fuck soups.
Why aren't you wearing that? Why are you wearing a hat repping someone else's brand?
It's the boys.
Why aren't you wearing a hat repping your own brand?
I got to get some made, man. I'm going to here soon. I was going to buy an embroidery machine.
You're clearly not getting the joke. You're clearly not getting the joke.
Oh. Oh shit.
Clearly went over your head.
That hat's gonna hurt your monetization. Sorry, Lance. You know.
So we met some people at a podcast a year ago, Travis, and I was called out for wearing what hat was I? Was I wearing this hat?
Yeah, you're wearing something referring to the boys. Yeah,
I was wearing this hat, and this guy called me out because I wasn't wearing a Couch Crunchers hat. You know, forgetting the fact that I was at a fan convention where fans go and they rep fan stuff. I was repping the show that I really like. But yeah, that's where the joke comes in.
That's like, you guys remember that movie? You remember the movie PCU? From it had like David Spade and who's the guy who played the agent in Entourage. Anyways, in there's this whole joke about the guy's got his band shirt on. And it's the band he's going to see that night. You know, I'm going to go see this band tonight. And like, you don't wear the shirt of the band you're going to go see that night. You wear a different shirt, you know? So I find now it's a little bit different when you have a podcast because you want to like advertise, but in the same vein, I feel like it's walking a fine line. And I agree with that statement. You don't wear the shirt of the band.
It's the same thing. You don't wear your podcast shirt on your podcast. You wear someone other podcast's shirt. So like when you're going on our show, you should be repping, you know, Comic Exposure, Couch Crunchers. When I'm on your show, you know, I should be repping my own stuff. That's when you rep your own shirt when you're on someone else's show.
Right, right. So or when you get a new shirt design, you guys like check out our new shirt design or something like that.
So when I do my show, I need to wear one of your two guys' shirts.
Yeah,
that's when you guys do my show, you guys need to wear your own brand shirts.
Well, that's what I have. That's what I have. Kyle, you guys got to get a Kyle because that's what I have Kyle for. Kyle just is a rotating shirt guy, so you know he's the guy that goes after all the shirts. So I just count on him to rep another show wearing that shirt.
Comic Exposure shirts available on Amazon.com Prime. You can get it in 2-day shipping, no problem.
They're on Amazon?
Yeah, they're on Amazon. Yeah.
That's good to know.
What was I gonna say? I think we need all like. Speaking of Lance's hat, I think we all need to create hats that just say F someone else who you're not, like F Lance or F Matt. And as you go on a podcast, it's just, you know.
Right. I'm looking up these Comic Exposure shirts right now. They're for real on Amazon?
Yeah, for real on Amazon. You search comic exposure on there, shirts come up, comic exposure shirt. They come up there. Yeah, it was kind of a pain in the butt. Like you have to go through this whole process. You have to go through a whole process with them. And I have to file it on my taxes, which kind of blows. Like
really?
Like, they have it, and okay. I'm like,
so do you still have to do state? You don't have to do U.S. taxes.
I do have to do state taxes for Arizona.
Really?
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking about trying to get a residency in a state where they don't have state taxes.
Well, like
what? Texas? Is that what? Like sales tax?
Even living in Japan, you have to pay U.S. taxes.
Yeah, I know.
Because you're on a base.
Yeah, dude, there's no limit. There's no limit to the United States government's reach, man.
Right?
No limit, soldiers you wherever you're at. For life. Yeah, no, I do. Yeah, and I'm like, I'm not even using your roads. I'm not using your services.
Is it because you're working on the base and they pay you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I know that I gotta pay it.
Do you have to pay Chinese taxes or Japan taxes too? You got to get some of that sweet American money. You live here. You pay too. We get you double.
Now that's gonna affect monetization.
No way.
Someone
gonna get subscribers right there. They're like,
someone
this is the
just
best
watched
episode of Couch Crunchers
last night.
Yeah, it did. It makes me want to go live in people's basements.
The basement wasn't that bad, honestly. It looked kind of cool. Great view.
Or it makes me want to peer awkwardly from the basement as a little kid eats a cake on the floor.
I like to watch people urinate.
Yeah, that too. Out my living room window. It makes me really want to build a shelf to put my toilet on too. Guys, I really want to sit on a shelf to take a dump.
Can we reverse the order? Talk about Parasite first, just to F with Sam when he comes on. As soon as he comes on and be like, and that was Parasite. Okay, let's talk about some superhero stuff. Is there any anime that we could talk about now? And then when Sam comes on, we're gonna just start talking like anime and be like, okay, so we're finishing that, and then be like, what?
We should just rerun his One Piece talk from last night on our show, and then that way when he comes on, just deny him to talk about it. Because I know he's waiting to talk all the anime exposure he can get. You just deny it. Be like, we already talked about that, bro. That conversation's done and gone.
That's a subsidiary of comic exposure.
Yeah.
Anime exposure.
Yeah, as soon as he gets on and be like, okay, guys, we've been talking about anime for a long time, so it's time to move on. Hey, Sam.
He's so excited to talk about this movie too. I really hope he comes dressed like Tyler or Max and just like he's totally just trying to infuse himself in his life.
I hope he comes dressed as the Asian girl from Kill Bill, the one with the little like mace, the little schoolgirl outfit, pigtails. Yeah.
That's his next cosplay.
I guess that's
when we go to WonderCon, he should dress up like that.
I mean, he came on our show last night looking like Gilligan, but he was supposed to be Monkey D. Luffy, and everyone just kept calling him Gilligan.
Oh, that would be great if you guys went to the con and everyone dressed like the Crazy 88, but one person had to be like the little schoolgirl. The rest of you guys have the mask.
I haven't seen that movie in so long, man. Kill Bill. I hear a new one's coming out. They might make another one.
I heard you guys were going to WonderCon cosplayed as Josie and the Pussycats.
Yeah,
the Riverdale version.
Just as long as I'm Josie.
Hell no,
dude. Rachel Lee Kirk was
Rachel Lee Kirk is my favorite cook.
Now we're getting demonetized. Now that's demonetization, right?
My name is Cook. My name is Park. My name is John.
Yeah,
I'm still learning how to talk with these things in my mouth, man. It's hard.
Josie and the Pussycats.
Yeah, I'm surprised you're rocking him during the podcast because that would affect, especially at the beginning. But you're like, I got him. I gotta put my time in. We're talking about Invisalign if we don't know people.
I gotta wear them for 22 hours a day. If I don't, then it just fucks everything up, apparently.
Oh,
so
22 hours.
So you get 2 hours.
I just got yelled at.
Take them out, huh?
Max just yelled at me because my TV's on mute, and he can see the reflection in my pops. Apparently,
That's like me every show. People are just like, "Oh, things are exploding in your room." I was like, "Yeah, it makes it look cool, dude. What are you talking about?" Why is Max in the chat if he can't be on the show?
He is out and about.
Then go be out and about. Go be out and about. Go away.
I know
Get out of here. This is our show tonight. This is
Scat, Matt.
You see,
Scat.
you see, yeah, you
Scat,
see
Max.
Twitter at Lance. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him. He's the captain now. You go away.
Yeah.
You don't need
He's
to be
already-
in the chat.
He's already dropped the F-bomb twice.
Yeah.
He's got it on his hat. Like we're going Wild West here tonight, baby.
You can't get more Lance than that. The only thing you can't get more Lance than this. He's got a supernatural shirt on. He's got his pops in the background. This podcast is fire. You can't get more couch crunchers than what it is right now.
Oh, look how awesome this shirt is too, dude. I was complimented on it twice today. Look at this.
Yeah, nice. He's lancing a lot tonight. He's like super
He's
Lance.
full effect.
Oh, dude, this is Lance exposed. This is Lance gone wild, bro.
My wife was doing homework and wanted to hang out with me, but yet you're watching Couch Crunchers.
I know it doesn't seem like
he's
the best.
He's the captain now, bro. He doesn't trust you. I think there's some trust issues in your relationship.
Hey, before he came around, I was the captain.
I don't think he trusts you.
I got demoted.
On your ship. No.
I got demoted, and he's been the man ever since, man. I'm okay with it.
Well, that's because half the time you're not even on your own show. So
I know, dude. I'm a lazy podcaster. Lazy. If you notice, I did the show notes like at 2:00 today.
That's all right. I offered you ours. And you didn't want to take them. So
well, I got to do something, dude, or else I'll lose my very valuable spot on this 4-person podcast.
Yes, because everyone else is fighting for it. You've got a podcast full of Corbins just like I do, so it's not like people can't make time to do the show. So
Max says it's because he likes to be on top.
Yeah,
dirty.
That's probably true.
No homo.
He's in the dominant. He likes to be in the dominant position. I understand.
No, if Max ever wises up and just fires me from Couch Crunchers, I'll just join Absolute Geek. I'm on there all the time, anyways.
You haven't been on there. Travis has been on there more than you have.
It's true. I haven't been on in a couple weeks or like couple months. Yeah. Well,
Travis is going to be on in 2 weeks again too for the
Valentine's Day special. Yeah.
What are you guys going to talk about?
Valentine's Day shit.
Yeah, no, it's not talking. I'm gonna go dressed as Penguin, body painted.
Huh?
You haven't heard that yet, huh?
What?
See, I told you he doesn't listen to our show. Yeah,
dude,
I'm about to body paint. I'm gonna body paint myself as the Penguin and go on that show just because I don't want Colin Farrell to be Penguin because the Penguin needs to be fat. So as a resident fat guy, I'll do it. I'll take that bullet.
I listen to your show on Mondays on my way into work.
Then you should have known this.
No, the one you talked about Friday?
No, this was like weeks ago. This is like 2 or 3 weeks ago now. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I'm here every Saturday in your chat. So I see where
you got mad at me. You got mad at me last time I was in your chat.
I see where the support is.
Last time I was in your chat, it was just like, fuck Lance. Well, guys,
last night on Absolute Geek, Matt's crew bailed out quick. It was like 8 people on that thing, and then it was just like,
and Travis came in with the hot tag.
It was the end of like the dirty dozen. People were just dropping off left and right, man.
Look, Kyle's in your chat. Bring him in. Send Kyle a link.
I offered in. Let me see.
He said, "I'm not cool enough to be on the show. Guess I can only be on the chat." Send Kyle a link. Let's go, Kyle. Kyle will liven this show up.
Let's get into this first topic. I got to recycle my opinions from yesterday.
Right?
Let's see here. All right. Well, let's talk about this first one here. Owen Wilson looks like he is joining the Loki show on Disney
Joining
Plus. Joining the Loki. That sounds like a
that sounds like a shitty K-pop group. Loki.
My name is Pac.
Yeah. My name is Owen. Wow.
That's a pretty good. That's a pretty good Owen.
That's all I can picture is him just wow. That's all I can.
Wow.
He's just going to be the wow guy. But no news onto what he is going to play.
Yeah.
Just that he's joining. It just seems like everybody's trying to get into the comic book stuff, right? I mean, even Matt Damon had a couple cameos.
Well, I think Matt Damon's cameo was a cameo of it was a two-parter, I think, because he's cameoing. He's playing Loki in a play about Loki when he played Loki in Dogma.
Right.
Yeah, that's called
like a trifecta.
Yeah.
What was the other one where he was a guy on a truck? Was that Shazam? No, what movie was that where he was sitting on the back of a truck?
Matt Damon? I have no idea.
Oh, I think I know.
Like dressed in a fat suit and stuff.
That does sound familiar. His best one is from Euro Trip, where he's doing This Guy Doesn't Know.
It was Deadpool 2.
Yes. I honestly didn't know that was Matt Damon for the longest time.
In Deadpool 2?
No, doing Scotty Doesn't Know from Euro Trip.
Yeah.
So great.
He was all emoed out with the
so into it.
Yeah.
It's such a, and that was like peak Matt Damon. You're like, why is this guy doing this National Lampoon's movie?
It's fantastic.
Hey, that's a good movie, man.
It is. I love that movie.
It's underrated movie.
Love that movie.
It doesn't make it onto a lot of like great comedy lists, but I put it in like my top 50, top 75 maybe.
Funniest movies you've seen. That's Road Trip, right? It's Road Trip, right?
Euro Trip.
Euro Trip.
Yeah.
Which one am I thinking? With Tom Green, right?
No, that's Road Trip.
Oh, I'm getting the two confused.
Euro Trip is the one where they go to Europe because the dude thinks his pen pal is a man, and then he finds out that it's a hot chick. So he tries to go to Europe to win her back after she blocks him.
Does that have the girl from Buffy in it?
Yes.
Michelle Trachtenberg or whatever?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was thinking Pete and Pete, but that's just me going back to OG.
Those movies are like merging as one in my mind. I'm having a really hard time separating them.
Yeah, those movies tend to definitely do that.
It's just all those 90s teen movies.
Was Michelle Trachtenberg in Pete and Pete?
She was. She was little Pete's best friend.
Dude, I don't know what happened to her, dude, but she blossomed.
She was in Nancy Drew.
She was a
Nancy Drew, too, yes.
Right? No, not Nancy Drew. Harriet the Spy.
Harriet the Spy.
Oh, Harriet the Spy. You're right.
Yeah. Nickelodeon, man.
Well, Travis, we're on Couch Cruncher, so let's just make it up as we go. Don't worry about being correct. We're just gonna keep running with it. Just
you notice how he's real on point when it comes to prepubescent young actresses.
And if he calls us out, we'll just be like, hold on, let me pull up this article real quick. We got this.
Oh, what do I think of Owen Wilson?
Just to keep relevant.
We were talking about that, weren't we? Let's get back to that.
I looked up his IMDb. I'm like, because I'm like, I know I've seen him in a bunch of stuff, and he's in kind of like the same movie over and over again in the 90s, and then he'll break away and do like a a Royal Tenenbaums or something like that. Midnight in Paris was solid. Midnight in Paris was a good flick. That's like
one of my favorite movies, honestly. It's my favorite. It's my favorite Woody Allen movie.
It's up there. It's really good. I'm a big Woody Allen fan.
I saw it so long ago, I barely remember it. When did that movie come out? Like 2010, 11?
Something like that. I watch that movie at least once a month.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to need to watch it again because I don't remember anything about it. I think when it's Owen Wilson, I just immediately just wipe it from my memory. Unless it's Wedding Crashers.
That has Loki in it. He is playing who's the famous piano player?
Liberace?
No, from the Expat. Matt, the character in the since you watch it once a month, the Gatsby. He's playing Gatsby in it. Doesn't he play Gatsby? Thor? Loki? Tom Hiddleston? He plays Gatsby in let me double check myself. Midnight.
Are you thinking of F. Scott? He's not F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald. Yeah, he's F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Is he
yeah,
F.
he is.
Scott Fitzgerald?
Yeah, he's F. Scott Fitzgerald. I'm just double checking this.
Yeah,
This is riveting podcasting.
Yeah, you need to fact check that.
We're just
gonna go with it. We're just gonna go with it
for
Travis
sure. No,
right.
We can go with it for sure. It is.
We're keeping points. On
So next
like
month when you
Gadsby,
next
like,
month,
what are you talking about?
Yeah.
F. Scott Fitzgerald. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what do you guys?
That was a long road for nothing.
The worst part about that movie is Rachel McAdams. So that's in my opinion.
I like her because she's like super cunty and she's supposed to be in that. I don't like her as an actress, but like she plays that role really well because I'm like, oh, I don't like her either.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of hers, but Date Night has to be one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
Not because of her.
She has some funny parts
in that movie. I feel like that casting in that movie is so like out of left field too. I don't feel like
weird, right?
Yeah.
The whole movie, the casting is like, dude, you got that guy? Like, how did you manage that? Like the coach from Friday Night Lights.
Mm-hmm.
But well, what do you guys think about this Loki show? Is it looking like it's
wow?
Is it looking like it's is it looking like it's going to be any good? Are you guys excited for it or what?
There's no footage on it, right? So far?
No.
There's nothing out.
They haven't really released anything besides some pictures and, like behind the scenes pictures and a couple promo photos, but no trailers as of yet.
I just want one of these Marvel shows to come out. I feel like this is like some big joke. Like they're like, oh, we're going to show you all these things. And like, no, that's canceled. That's canceled. We're not doing that. So I'm excited for it just because I want to see one of them. The first one coming out is Vision, Scarlet Witch, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I thought
no. Captain America.
Falcon Winter Soldier is the first one.
Yeah.
And that's coming out when?
August, I think.
They both just got pushed up. Wanda Vision and Falcon Winter Soldier both just got pushed up.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'll be more excited about Loki when I see one of those to kind of get a sense on maybe what this is going to be shot like, maybe what kind of effort it's going to be put into this. I mean, I got no problem. I'll watch the Loki show. I'll give it a shot. I guess I'll give it a shot.
Wow.
John Wayne's a terrible cowboy name. My nose is fucked up.
The only one of those shows that I'm the least bit excited for is that Wanda Vision, just because of how much is being promised from it. Because everything else just seems like fillers.
Dude, Wanda Vision is going to be amazing, and it's going to be the thing that changes the Marvel universe. And Wanda is going to single-handedly be probably be the responsible party for ushering in the X-Men. Just gonna say it. If you know anything about Scarlet Witch and what she is capable of and what she does in the comic books, get excited about this show.
That was when I was talking, I think a couple weeks ago. I was thinking that they would use Scarlet Witch to kind of usher in Magneto in the X-Men, just because she's supposed to be his daughter. So
yeah, but I don't think that's gonna have anything to do any focus on Magneto. If you want to know the true capability of her power, read you can get it in a trade, but it's called House of M, and see what she does. She single-handedly was responsible for wiping out mutants.
All mutants.
She said no more mutants, snapped her fingers, and was done. So she is going to change the game. So if you're not completely familiar with Scarlet Witch, now's the time to read up on that before
House of M. Yeah.
This stuff hits.
Well, I'm excited for that show, man. It looks good. And then we get, Doctor Strange, I think a year after that or 2 years after that. And she's supposed to be in that as well.
I thought that movie leads up. Well, it was originally supposed to lead up to Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange comes out next year, doesn't it? 2021?
I think that sounds right. Yeah. I don't know off the top of my head, but that sounds right. Yeah, they're supposed to be in conjunction with each other.
She's a huge player in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So
yeah, I hope the theme song for Doctor Strange is like, "People are strange when you're a doctor. Faces look ugly."
I think the whole thing with that movie is that Wanda's gonna freak out and go crazy like she does in the comics, and she's gonna break reality, and he's gonna be the one that has to put it back together. So he's going through all these different multiverses and times and of her just changing things as she goes.
just picking up the pieces. And
Oh, I see what it is. So it's a woman's mental breakdowns are responsible for the destruction of the universe,
exactly.
and a man has to go in and fix it. How typical!
Yep.
Oh man!
Why can't
2020, folks?
Why can't Doctor Strange break the universe and then Wanda has to fix it? That's more realistic.
Because it's not called Wanda in the multiverse of madness.
Hey, isn't there a song that says "This is a man's world"?
Yeah.
This is a man's world.
That should be the theme song.
There you go. I'm sorry for all two female listeners that we offended, and that was probably Lance's wife and Max's wife.
Oh, my wife does not listen to the show.
Oh, okay. Well,
don't give us that much credit. Our loved ones do not care about this at all. But speaking of Doctor Strange, it's rumored that Emily Blunt might be
Doctor Strange
in the movie. Yeah, as Clea. I don't know how familiar you guys are with her.
I am not familiar with the character of Clea.
Apparently, she is the daughter of one of. Let me open it here. Let me see here. So she is the daughter of. What is this person's name? Can't find it.
Cleo, the television psychic. Is it Miss Cleo?
Miss Cleo? Cleo?
Yeah, don't call her Cleo. She likes the Miss.
But she was originally
Doctor Strange's girlfriend.
Yeah, her father is Orion, a disciple of Dormammu.
Yeah.
And ruler of the Dark Dimension.
Oh, can you imagine being Doctor Strange's girlfriend? Like, it's like dating someone with like Asperger's. It would just be like you just the whole time you're like, this. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I feel like more like I'm your caretaker than in a relationship with you.
Right?
I don't know.
Yeah, he takes her on as an apprentice, and then they start knocking boots.
Did you say Emily Blunt is supposed to play that part, or it was rumored?
Yeah, that she's having discussions with Marvel currently.
I don't think she's having discussions for that role.
I hope that's not it. I hope it's Invisible Woman.
That's what I'm thinking it is, and I think that they're gonna talk to her first, and since she's married to John Krasinski, they're gonna gauge their collective response to this, because the minute they say, "Well, we're in talks with John Krasinski," everybody's gonna go fucking nuts. So it's gonna they're gonna keep that one under hard wraps, I think.
That's who everybody wants. I haven't heard really anybody else that's gotten the momentum that John Krasinski's gotten for Mr. Fantastic.
Well, they both do. Him and Emily Blunt both have huge heat to play Sue Storm in Dr. Fantastic.
I think that would be a fantastic movie.
Reed Richards.
John Krasinski himself with his acting ability. Like, Emily Blunt is a fantastic actress, but I think John Krasinski could do so much with that role. And he wants to be in a Marvel movie. I mean, he was almost Captain America.
Yeah.
It was between him, Chris Evans, and
then he got beat out by a dude who wore a whipped cream bikini and not another teen movie.
And Jensen Ackles. It was up to those three.
Who would you? So if the fan favorites right now are Emily Blunt and John Krasinski, who would? Okay, so if you take them off the table, then who would you cast it as? Who would you want to cast
as
it
Mr. Fantastic?
As the couple. Yeah, Sue Storm especially.
With all the terrible castings that there have been already, I think honestly John Krasinski and Emily Blunt are the two that fit the role perfectly.
Who is harder to cast if you weren't going to do that real life couple? Is it the role of Sue Storm or is it the role of Reed Richards? What's the harder casting? Is it hard to cast a guy to play Reed Richards or a girl to play Sue Storm?
Are you talking about the relationship, or are you talking about the Fantastic Four in general?
What part?
I think honestly, Ben Grimm is going to be the harder person to cast.
Yeah, because Human Torch. I mean, you get a guy that's like kind of funny and kind of is suave and things like that's easy. And I wouldn't doubt it if they look at somebody like Zac Efron or something like that for that role.
Ben Grimm, I like in the first season of Daredevil, the Netflix show, the guy who played Kingpin's father in the flashback episode, he's been in a bunch of stuff. For some reason, that's the only thing I can think of. Remember that great episode where, they go back and Kingpin, they show how he grew up in New York, and his dad was the whole Hammer story. Yeah. Let me pull up his name. That actor is really good. And he plays a lot of those kind of tough mooks, like those kind of like Brooklyn kind of square jawed, short, stout, mookish characters. I'm trying to pull it up now, but I'm also now just spinning my wheels. So it's hard to spin your wheels and look up stuff as I'm spinning out of control.
So he's actually Vincent D'Onofrio's brother's cousin, uncle from the second marriage on his cousin's side.
Come on, internet. Come on, Google.
If you don't believe me, I've got an article pulled up that you can refer to.
Dominic Lombardozzi.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. You look at him, he's got kind of like that kind of tough guy. You want someone who looks like they were like living in Brooklyn in like 1960s.
You want The Rock
as Ben Grimm?
As Ben Grimm. Ben Grimm's got like a real kind of old school New York vibe to him. Yancey Street.
Yeah, he's got that Bronx accent.
Yeah. What about Claire Danes? What about Claire Danes for Sue Storm?
I want Mark Wahlberg to play Ben Grimm, because then he can just walk around and ask everyone how their mother's doing. It's it's clobbering time. Say hi to your mother for me.
Hey, hello, your mother for me.
Yeah.
Hey, goat. What's up? You being a goat?
There you go. That's a good Mark Wahlberg. Wow.
There we go. Put those two together.
Wow.
What's up? Hey, what's up, Loki?
Yeah. Wow.
What do you guys think of? Let me see. I'm looking up just some fan casts here. Let's see. One thing I'm seeing is Bill Hader as Mr. Fantastic.
No, I don't think so.
What about Sam Rockwell? Sam Rockwell is Mr. Fantastic.
Well, he's already Justin Hammer.
Yeah, he's already Hammer.
I think we're good. I think enough time has passed.
Right? He's supposed to be coming back in the She-Hulk show, or She-Hulk, or I don't remember what I read, but he's supposed to be coming back in one of those things.
It's pronounced Shulk.
I really hope that She-Hulk is like, yeah, I really hope She-Hulk turns out to be like Law and Order with her just punching people in the face.
Yes,
because I want to see her courtroom stuff along with her superhero stuff.
Yeah, I want to see the courtroom stuff.
Splitting Lady Blazers on her way to the courtroom. Damn it!
Yeah.
I think She-Hulk could be a lot like the
Lance Shulk. God,
you know how hard that is to say.
Right.
I think it could be a lot like the Daredevil TV show, where it's kind of showing Matt Murdock's lawyer side and his nighttime activities. I guess I think it could be, kind of shot the same way.
Like
Daredevil, I would have no problem watching his nighttime activities with Elektra any day. That would have made that show way more exciting.
It's like Daredevil meets like Ally McBeal. You got a little dancing Hulk baby.
What do you guys think of Oscar Isaac as Mr. Fantastic?
No.
I kind of like Reed as the characterization is he's a scatterbrain genius, and I like Sue Storm being the person who is essential to that character to keep him focused and on track. And I like that. I like the idea of that couple relationship is that without Sue Storm, like his scatterbrainness takes him in he needs that focus. And I think Oscar Isaac has so much intensity and I guess he was a little bit more roguish in the last one. He can't play that, but I think his general strength is like, yeah, go ahead.
No, sorry, go ahead. You were cutting out on my end, so I didn't know you were done talking. If you were done talking, go ahead, finish up.
I'm practicing that cut. No, I'm done. That's it.
The joys of doing a podcast over the internet, right?
Yep.
Right.
Andrew Lincoln from The Walking Dead.
Oh, that I wouldn't. He was actually my second choice. I would not be against that.
Can he be casted as anything else now, or is he too ingrained as Rick? Can people separate that?
I think
if you're gonna say that, I mean, John Krasinski is Jim always from The Office. I mean, his role as Jim, I think, is more, will go down as in history far longer than Andrew Lincoln as Rick, I think.
Well, like there is a bit of a physical difference in when he was playing Jim to now, where it's like, yeah, it's the same guy, but it's almost like a metamorphosis has occurred. Whereas the other, it's just like it literally would probably just look like Rick is now leading the Fantastic Four, which I'm not against.
There would be minor character differences, but yeah, for the most part, it'd be hard to separate.
Johnny, I think it's a good. I wouldn't be opposed to that.
What about Jason Segel?
No, Timothy. Oh God, he was in
Oliphant.
Yes,
Timothy Oliphant. Yeah.
Yes.
Justified.
Oh, yes, Hitman.
Justified.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was in Justified and The Girl Next Door, and yes,
I don't hate that one either. He seems like a giant a-hole, like to have to deal with on a set for that long. But I like him. I like the stuff he does.
It's he's Santa Clarita Diet too, right?
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, that show is fantastic. I was so depressed when that show got canceled.
I think Amy Adams could play Sue Storm.
You know what? After the butcher that she did on Lois Lane, I don't want her anywhere near a comic book property ever again.
And if you put her in there, she looks. I can't separate those actors that all look like Pam. Kind of, there's like 3 actresses that all look like Pam that are working at the same time, like the same age, and I confuse them all the time.
Sacha Baron Cohen's wife, Amy Adams, and I don't even know what the real Pam Beasley's name is. I have no idea.
Yeah.
What about Jessica Chastain?
I like her. I don't know.
Oh my God! You know who would be a good Ben Grimm? John Bernthal, the Punisher.
Oh, that would be great.
Sticking around as the Punisher.
He would be a fantastic Ben Grimm.
Yeah, I agree. But I truly think they're going to figure out a way to bring his Punisher back.
What about Johnny? What about Johnny Storm? Because they're going to pick like an otter, like this hairless little 20-year-old man child.
I like the idea of Zac Efron. I think he has the humor and the physique, and I think he'd be believable.
Well, just to finish off, we're on Couch Crunchers. So to finish off the trifecta of Lance, I'm going to go with Taron Egerton or Egerton. I can't say his last name.
No, he's Wolverine.
No, he's going to be Johnny Storm.
No, Wolverine. I do see him on a few of these fan casts, and I'm looking up, and I'm like, keep him the fuck away from this. He's Wolverine.
There's one here. What about like going really younger and going like Timothy Chalamet, like the guy from Call Me by Your Name and stuff like that? You guys know that guy? You seen that?
Name
if
actor.
He can bulk up. He's super skinny, man.
He's like really. Yeah, you're right. That would be tough.
I don't want to like Michael B. Jordan had the perfect like build for that character. I think like that's
what is this? What is this motion like? He had like
the
great
broad shoulders and like
great.
I don't know. With when you do that motion for me, it's more like this.
Like you're making a snowball, like your little Calvin and Hobbes.
It's like kind of a nuzzle, like.
Well, if Marvel wants to go younger, what do you think of Adam Driver as Reed Richards?
I like Adam Driver.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that either, honestly.
I don't know if he's ever gonna want to do like another franchise again, though. I don't know if he'll touch that. Guys, I'm still here. I'm gonna take these things out of my mouth.
I think anyone. If Marvel's like Disney Marvel waved that money in his face, he's gonna be like, okay, I'll take it.
Matt, now it's just you and us. He's covered up. I'm glad he's taking those dicks out of his mouth because it was really awkward talking to him and just.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
It really was.
No, I
oh, hey, Lance.
I was here the whole time. I just closed the app so no one had to watch that. I think he had such a bad experience with Star Wars. And I mean, several of those actors have kind of come out and said how bad their experience was.
It was bad for them? I haven't read anything about this. Oh.
The amount of backlash that they got from these little Star Wars fanboys was...
Oh, in that sense, I thought it was like on the set they had a bad time, like they were being...
I'll tell you what, though. I would want for Victor Von Doom. I know he was in Black Panther, but I want Sterling K. Brown to play Victor Von Doom.
I like that idea.
With that.
But I love the idea of the dude from Captain Fantastic and Lord of the Rings. What's his Viggo Mortensen?
Viggo Mortensen. That is a really good choice as well. Dang, guys. I got nothing.
He's a little bit on the older side. He's a little bit on the older side, but dude, I think he would be so good.
I like an older Von Doom.
But aren't him?
How about Kat Von D playing Victor Von Doom? I know it's a stretch. Yeah,
love it.
Yeah.
What about the dude from Stranger Things? He plays the new like Billy in Stranger Things. He was a Red Ranger in the Power Rangers reboot.
Oh,
yeah, I know you're talking about
something Montgomery.
He's got a good look. Yeah. He's got a good look, and he's got a good presence. He commands the screen, even just like on your little Netflix. Yeah,
I think he could make a good Johnny Storm.
I wanted him to
I agree with that.
Power Rangers, man. Like I thought that movie was pretty good. And it turns out they're rebooting the whole thing.
Oh, he was in that Power Rangers movie? I didn't see it.
Yeah, he was the Red Ranger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's fantastic in Netflix in Stranger Things. He's one of the best parts about those two last seasons.
He looks so much like Zac Efron. Like if you put them side by side, they are like doppelgangers. Yeah. The two of them. Hey, Larry from STS guys might join us for a moment. He's asking for a link. There he is. Larry, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Good. In case you guys don't know Larry, he is from the STS guys, and he's a frequent Comic-Con. We always run into each other at Comic-Con is what I'm trying to freaking say.
Yeah. Friend, right? Attendee, whatever.
Yeah, attendee. Companion.
Nice. Yeah. Hey, Larry.
But
hey, what's up, Travis? What's up, Matt?
What's going on, man?
We are talking about Fantastic Four, who we want to see as the Four.
Yeah, I caught most of that. Yeah. I like the Zac Efron thing.
I don't think he would be bad.
I feel like he's going to make his way into like the MCU at some point.
I thought his name is the top of the list to play Adam Warlock.
I do think he's earmarked for Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
So if we're doing Johnny Storm, right? So I think the idea of Johnny Storm is he's kind of like this ego-driven, kind of like smug young guy, and so we pick like an actor for that. But in the movie, what should be like his real his conflict, other than just being like young and obsessed with celebrity? What like you got to have more than that if we're gonna. That was kind of like the old Fantastic Four, like they kind of like he's a one-note character. What would be? Because I don't read a lot of Fantastic Four. Has there been a good run where Johnny has had to like really kind of face some kind of like deep, dark internal conflict?
He's kind of not He's not dimensional enough.
Yeah,
you're saying in this current state of the MCU.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering if there's any runs where like there was a really good Johnny Storm run where they bring in certain issues and you're like, oh wow, this would be great to explore on the big screen. Anyone read FF?
I mean, not that I can think of.
Like, yeah.
Unless it was with where he was like broken up or teamed with like Spider-Man or something. Because I know he had like in the Ultimate Universe, he had a lot of stuff with what's going on with Spider-Man in the Bendis run, but not that I can think of off the top of my head or that like jumps out and bites me.
I liked what, in the last movie that came out was absolute trash. So let me just preface it by saying that. But I liked what they did with Michael B. Jordan in that role. They kind of made him like this kind of screw up. Like I think he was in trouble with the police or something like that, and then he got forced to work in the like he had like deep emotional issues, and he was always getting into trouble and stuff like that. I think you have to.
Yeah, he was Apollo Creed. Like he was Creed in that movie. He's like, oh man, I just can't get it together.
Guys.
Hey! Sorry, I'm late.
I know people don't like the opinion, but I mean I still think that Chris Evans nailed the nature of that character in the original first two movies.
I don't think that the casting in those movies was that bad. Like I like the guy that they got to play Mr. Fantastic. Jessica Alba was kind of, got the role on her name, but the guy that played Mr. Fantastic, his name's Igo, I don't remember, but he was pretty good. And I thought
Ewan Griffith.
Chickless. What?
Ewan Griffith.
Yeah, that sounds right. You're probably right. Sam's usually right. But
I'd hope so. He's the movie mechanic.
Chickless says the thing wasn't even that bad. The suit they had him in was horrible.
Yeah, but
what do you guys think?
He did good for what it was.
Yeah, I mean the writing was.
Yeah.
Well, and I thought Dr. Doom, he wasn't bad either.
No,
it's just the writing that kind of was the downfall of that.
The visuals don't really hold up very good anymore either, right? No. Just the cinematic style and all that. So at the time, especially that first one, wasn't bad.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun for the time when it came out.
It's just now what we know, according to them, like it doesn't hold water to what we know now and what they can be. What do you guys think of Dave Franco as Human Torch?
I can see Dave Franco doing it.
I absolutely love Dave Franco. So give me more Dave Franco in any possible role. I think he can, right? He's kind of got that attitude. Sure.
Right.
It could work.
And he has the humor that I think would need to be need to be there. I think they need to get somebody that has at least a little bit of comedic chops. Maybe not everybody on the cast, but at least that role in order for it to stick. Because he kind of has that Spider-Man kind of demeanor to him a little bit.
He's quick, right?
Right.
Isn't that kind of the Marvel formula, is to find comedic actors and then buff them up and then put them in these superhero roles?
True.
Kumail Nanjiani looks like he friggin' has just been lifting Mack trucks for the last 10 years.
Yeah, he does.
He looks freaking ripped.
Did you guys hear what happened with him? So he posted that picture that basically broke the internet because everybody's like, wait a minute, the guy from Silicon Valley is shredded? What the hell's going on here? Pornhub gave him a 10-year subscription for free for that picture. Neat. He has a 10-year subscription to Pornhub.
Yeah, cool. Because they used it. They used it, right? They put it on like one of their category images or something.
I think so.
Apparently, Chippendales offered him a deal too for their Vegas club. So
I like how Pornhub puts a number on it, like 10 years. Like, can't just be like, you know what, lifetime subscription. Like, you got 10 years, but then you got to pay. Then you got to pay. We're just giving you a little taste.
Yeah. How many can you fit in 10 years? It's
now Lance has sent Pornhub like 30 shirtless photos, hoping to get the same deal. He's like, what about me? What about me, guys? What about me? I'm not looking
5 years. I just want 5 years.
10 months.
They're all photographed from my right side because that's my best side. No left nipple, only right nipple.
Lance, you ought to get it. You ought to get it from your backside. I think that's your good side.
Oh yeah.
Someone shave Lance down. We got the photo shoot going on.
I mean, haven't you seen the back of Lance's car? He's got the Pornhub decal right underneath his Couch Cruncher sticker.
No, I think you're mistaking that for the Funko Pop.
Well, that's on there too.
It's the other side. Has
Funko porn.
What about
that's the section I go to in Pornhub.
That's what I want your Funko Pop to be. I want it to be Sauna Lance. I want you the Funko Pop to have a towel draped around him, like back hair.
What about Jamie Lannister for Victor Von Doom?
Yes, I agree with that. I mean, you're nailing the casting tonight, Matt. I'm like, these are all good choices.
I just like how we're on Couch Crunchers, and this somehow became an episode of Absolute Geek. We're not even on topic. We're not staying. We're almost at an hour. We have only given 2 questions in.
Max usually texts me and it's like, "Hey, dude, come on, stop. We need to get on to the next thing." But I don't even care.
Screaming at you in the chat, like, let's get this show
on
the move.
Right? he turned it off because we made him feel bad.
Yeah, probably.
So I have to drop because we're going live in 10 minutes. But thank you guys for having me. Those that I haven't met, nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet
Yeah,
you.
Okay,
have a good show.
The rest of the podcast on the audio version.
We're going to get together.
It's all right.
soon,
You won't.
I know.
Yeah,
No, I will.
Larry, we'll consider this you passing the baton to me.
All right, handing off to the movie mechanic. Thanks, guys.
Bye, guy. Larry's a good guy.
Larry's got a good podcast voice.
Yeah, he does. Every Comic-Con that I go to, just walking the expo floor, I run into him. Like, we both don't know if we're going to be there or not, but every single one. It's like
Larry looks like he could be Steve Buscemi's little brother.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of chuckling to myself because from a certain angle, he's like, I'm a big Dave Franco fan. I was like, from a certain angle, you kind of look like Dave Franco. I know Travis last week.
I was thinking the same thing too.
Yeah.
I was like, he's got a little Dave Franco vibe.
Yeah. Everyone roots for their celebrity doppelganger.
Right. What about do you guys still want to talk about this, or do you want
Ryan Gosling for Silver Surfer?
No, I think we've exhausted the FF casting talk.
All right, well, let's move on to the next thing then. Linda Hamilton says, screw Terminator. She's done. She never wants to revisit it, never wants to go back to it again.
Good. Goodbye. That movie,
Dude, that last movie was depressing, man. Like, I wanted it to
die.
I wanted it to be good. And like it wasn't as bad as like Genesis or anything like that, but it just wasn't the big homecoming of James Cameron that it was supposed to deliver.
Yeah, I only got through half of it, then I shut it off. I thought Linda Hamilton, her reveal in that movie was pretty. She looked pretty good in that. Like, it's badass coming out on that highway scene. And then there's a couple of moments in it. I thought she was the better part of that movie, but I don't need Linda Hamilton in any other Terminators. But does Linda Hamilton need Terminators as far as what's she doing? Yeah.
I liked Gabrielle Luna. Is that his name? Ghost Rider. What's his name? He played the bad guy in that Terminator movie.
Oh, I don't know his name.
I thought he was pretty good, and the new Terminator or whatever that they got to replace Arnold, I thought she was pretty good too.
Here's the real question: is does anybody need Terminator movies?
No, I didn't need another Terminator after 2. 2 was perfection, and then they just started shitting on the franchise. So
I didn't mind the one with Emilia Clarke. I liked it.
Wasn't that?
Well, that was a TV show. Wasn't that a TV series?
No, that's that one was
Sarah Connor Chronicles.
No, wasn't that Genesis with
Summer
her?
Glau. No, Genesis was the one with Christian Bale, I thought.
Oh, that's right.
No,
again, I'm confused.
No, that's Terminator Salvation.
Yeah,
you guys are all mixing up. You guys are all mixing up your crappy Terminator movies.
Salvation.
Well, they name them such shitty names. Their names are so bad. It's like Salvation, Genesis.
It's like the same way Fantastic Four or Fast and Furious. That's what I meant to say.
All sound like rejected video game console names. Like this Xbox Salvation, Xbox Genesis, Xbox. I'll die another day. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not very good. They need to hire the James Bond.
No, they don't need to hire anyone. They just need to stop.
Let's find a new property. Let's milk a new property.
But
all right. So can Terminator if Terminator can exist in any medium, can it exist in comics? Can they start doing video games with it? What's the best if we had to put Terminator had to live on in some other medium other than film? Television, comics, novels.
If they just did a firm reboot, not one of these soft reboots, not trying to bring Arnold back or anything like that. If they wanted to reboot the whole thing, I don't care.
Where it can exist perfectly is on my DVD shelf, covered in dust. Nothing else.
The question is, what story is there left to tell with that formula? And they've covered everything, and they did it. The first 2 were terrifying and exciting, and then everything after that, it was like, okay, They didn't spice it up in the way it needed to be spiced up. They, instead of increasing the tension with different scenarios, they instead started gender swapping all the different roles and say, well, let's do a sexy Terminator this time. That'd be a new thing. Or let's do, instead of going to the past, let's go to the future this time and see how, see why John Connor's so important in the future. And so they just, Terminator Salvation actually was a new concept, but they just didn't do it very well. And then all of the other Terminators where they're coming back to him ever since Salvation have all been a rehash with just some gender swapping, but there's no new story there. There's no new tension there. And if they don't have new tension, then there's no reason for a new movie. They've got to bring in something new.
But didn't this movie ultimately make John Connor, the whole John Connor thing, obsolete? Because they saved John Connor, they stopped the Terminator, but now it didn't matter. It still happened anyway. Judgment Day still happens anyway.
And then they use that same story from T1 and use it and gender swap it and just use it again.
Yeah.
So it's just
with the Terminator from T2.
Yeah, it's just a different people playing the same roles essentially.
I think it's the way they film it too. In Terminator 2, the film is dated, it's shot on film and stuff like that. But there's kind of like a rawness and almost B-level movie shooting of like Terminator 2 that makes it kind of a little bit edgier, kind of like this shouldn't be as good as it is. But when Arnold's walking with the roses and a shotgun, or when they're driving down the canals, there's this kind of like almost a low budgetness. And the latter day Terminators, they're really polished in how they do their action. It's very kind of polished, and there's CGI Terminator,
even T3. It started with T3.
Yeah.
T3,
but
the special effects were on point.
Yeah.
They had that scene where the ball's in the air and they're falling, like the little time thing that they pop out of or whatever. Like they spent probably $1 million on that shot alone.
The one with Claire Danes, isn't that T3? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or they hide out in the bunker.
Yeah.
See, the root of Terminator is you have, all the time stuff and the lore behind it isn't really the tension. Everything is about how you have this unstoppable killing machine right behind you at all times. And you can go as fast as you want, but every time you turn around, he's right there.
It's like
he's
Jason.
Firing guns at you, or he's and in the case of T2, he's got his weird knife hands shooting out at you. And that was the crux of it. It's basically a game of cat and mouse, but with all the timey-wimey stuff going on as well. But that's not what drives the tension. What drives the tension is the cat and mouse stuff.
It's true.
I think the concept and our understanding of time travel in movies is so different today compared to it was back then, that those movies are dated in that stance too, that with their time travel.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why Avengers was pretty good, is because they tried to like change the whole concept of what we all know time travel to be. I think. If they would have done the same old crap, like go back in time and change it like Back to the Future, then that movie wouldn't have been as good.
Yeah, I think that's where Terminator lost its edge, is when it started to, they stopped focusing on the game of cat and mouse, and they started to try and flesh out the lore and the world more. But it just didn't hold up under scrutiny.
I think Lance just got murdered. That's 2 shows in a row.
Oh my gosh! It must be.
We're getting a Diet Coke. I'm getting a Diet Coke.
A hand came in and Lance disappeared. Last night, a hand came in and Jay disappeared.
Jay was gone.
Cat and mouse. Lance playing peekaboo. He's like, hey guys. Hi. He's got too many kids. He has too many children.
It's like they're closing in. They're closing in on us, Matt.
I just didn't want anybody to get a full ass view. If you want that, go over to Pornhub. So,
rejected folder.
All right, so Sam's here.
Travis.
So Sam's here, and
I just like how he left that zinger, and then he just sat back and he's like, let that
marinate.
marinate.
He's like, I'm just gonna let that hang.
So Sam's here, and I was waiting to. I know he went over this at nauseum last night. I guess you could say I haven't heard it yet. So,
I don't
but
think
One
anyone
Punch
was
or One
nauseated.
Piece.
No, he did good. Yeah.
I'm always not. No, I'm just kidding. One Piece, new live action Netflix show.
Yeah.
I have not seen the anime. I don't know what to expect. I'll probably watch this. Sam, give us your thoughts on it.
All right, so this is the 2-minute version of what the anime is. So basically, you have a crew of pirates called the Straw Hat Pirates. Their captain is Monkey D. Luffy, and their quest is to circumnavigate the globe, find a treasure called the One Piece. And whoever finds the One Piece becomes the king of the pirates. And when the show started out, it was just that simple premise. But you can see the bookshelf behind me. That's the first half of the series on manga. And then here's the second half on the bottom. Oh, gosh, I can't even see it. But here's volume 92. Each one of these books has 10 or 12 chapters in them. The series is closing in on 1,000 chapters. It's been running for 22 years. The anime has been running for 20 years. It has almost 920 episodes. It's a very valuable property worldwide. I think the value of the One Piece brand is like $500 million. The author makes about $30 million a year. So he alone could probably fund this series.
I think the only property more lucrative is Dragon Ball.
No, that's not true. Dragon Ball is more lucrative, but Gundam is the
too.
most.
I forgot about Gundam. Yeah,
Gundam puts everything else to shame. Like, it's more valuable than all the rest combined.
Then Dragon Ball?
Yeah, dude. Does
Pokemon count in that same breath?
Yeah, dude. Gundam.
Pokemon's got to be
Gundam's
really
everywhere here.
Gundam makes so much money, dude. It's insane. You would not believe how much these robot suits make, dude. You have no idea.
It's so
you'd be walking around Tokyo and you just see Gundam statues up left and right. Just here's in front of shops and in parks and all.
Well, you guys have a huge one that's it's like a gift shop, isn't it? It's a full sized one.
There's like a Gundam bar.
Yeah,
where you can hop in it's like a coin operated ride, but it's just a giant Gundam suit, and it like bends down and you climb inside and it pops up, and that's basically all it does. But you could feel like you're piloting a Gundam for like a minute or two. But
so is that the same in the States though?
I'm talking worldwide.
Yeah. But I'm just saying the popularity, as far as popularity is concerned, because that sounds like Gundam Worldwide is the most popular of all these things.
So
right?
One Piece has tried several times to kind of take off in the States. The original dub was done by a production company called 4Kids, and they did a lot to censor kind of the more adult elements, and in a very ridiculous way. For example, there's a character who smokes a cigarette, and he always has a cigarette kind of hanging from his lips. But in the 4Kids dub, instead of a cigarette, they turned it into a sucker, and he would hold his sucker like a cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
And he had this like real kind of, dime store New York accent. It was just super crappy, super cheesy. And they finally gave up on editing One Piece because it was getting too adult. It was getting too intense. And not that it's geared towards adults. It's just there's just a lot of like violence and more adult themes than 4Kids was comfortable with. So they gave it up, and now Funimation dubs it, and they also will do the subtitles for it. And they don't edit it like that. They don't try to scrub it like that. So if the character smokes a cigarette, he'll still smoke a cigarette. But they tried putting it back on Toonami, which is the Cartoon Network anime block, and it didn't do very well because it takes a huge investment of time. One Piece has, like I said, over 900 episodes, and to get anywhere, you've got to really put in some time, which is why this particular opportunity of a Netflix series is so appealing because it's going to cover basically the first 100 chapters. These 4 kind of mega volumes behind me, which is it's like the first 60 episodes of the anime, and they're going to cover it all in 10 episodes. So it's going to really abridge a lot of the stuff, and I'm hoping that they bring in some of the elements. See, the anime's been running so long, they introduced elements later on in the series that affect how you look at the very beginning of the series, but those elements weren't introduced until 5, 10, 15 years later. And I'm hoping that they're able to incorporate them now into the series and kind of give it a more robust, more complete treatment in the live action series. And a lot of people are skeptical. I mean, Netflix doesn't have a perfect record when it comes to anime adaptations. If you saw the Death Note adaptation, it was a disappointment. If you saw Dragon Ball Evolution, that's not a Netflix show, but that was a big disappointment. There's another adaptation of another anime I really enjoy called Mob Psycho 100 that is also kind of a disappointment. But it's not all bad. I mean, there was a Bleach anime adaptation that was really good, and it was primarily good because they kept it small in scope, which is kind of how I feel about this One Piece, the announcement of this One Piece series, is that it is staying small in scope. They're not trying to jump all the way to the end at first. They're really trying to take it slow. But the issue is it's going to be really effects heavy because the main character, Monkey D. Luffy, is made of rubber. He's like Mr. Fantastic. And his arms stretch, his body stretches, and they use it to comedic effect in the show and in the comic, and it kind of lightens the atmosphere of the very intense action and battle scenes, because in the middle of a battle scene he'll blow up like a balloon and bounce an attack off of him. But the question is, well, how does that translate to a live action show? Is the effect going to be corny, too corny? Is it going to be cheesy? I don't know. But yeah, go ahead.
So, Sam, I think one of the things that when you talk about this, it makes me think about, it's gotta be tough because you love this series and it's this huge epic. Do you guys have that? Is there anything that you guys, like Sam loves this thing? It's tough because you're trying to set, you're like, hey, I think if people, especially people if you're in this podcast, you like this stuff, you're going to love this, but it's so huge and so epic. Do you find it's a hard sell? Do you find like it's when you try to sell people, it's a hard sell because it is so big and so epic? Do you guys all have something where you're like, I really love this, but I don't really know how to talk about it with other people? You know how to talk about it, but as far as
that aren't fans,
I find Doctor Who fans are like this, oh, I love Doctor Who, and where should I start? Well, you can start here or this, and there is some intrepidation because it's been going on for so long that even the early stuff might seem dated, or it might seem like it's been ripped off at this point. So you might feel like it's not original. This because Sam's got a passion for this, and I'm interested in it. But then it becomes well, where do I start? And that kind of thing.
Doctor Who kind of went comic book route and went back to number one to a season 1. So a lot of people forget that there was Doctor Who before Doctor Who season 1 on the BBC. So what we know in its current form. So
yeah,
that's kind of like how I feel when you guys talk about comic books. I'm there's certain ones that I read, but then you guys talk about these other ones, and I'm not an avid comic book reader like you guys are.
Cultured.
Yeah, well, Sam,
it's kind of daunting.
Sam seems to be saying this Netflix, this possible thing is a great vehicle to get something that he loves out there for people to start with. Is that kind of what this is? What you're so excited about it? Is that this?
Exactly. That's why I'm excited about it. I am excited about this. There's a lot of fans. I go on Reddit and I talk about One Piece on Reddit with folks all the time, and they are, I would say 60 to 70% of them are negative, and then the other 30-40% like me are positive, and they're hopeful that there's certain things about this that make it different from other anime adaptations. Primarily, the author is an executive producer, and it's also there's rumors that it's going to get a budget as big, if not bigger, than Game of Thrones. So there's things about it that it's like, okay, we do have some hope here that it's going to be a quality program. And primarily, I like One Piece for the reasons I like it. I don't always connect with other One Piece fans in the same way that I would hope that they would enjoy it. But, it's just nice to get together with other One Piece fans. And they released a movie not long ago, kind of like a 20-year anniversary celebration. And the theater was packed with One Piece fans.
They've got another movie coming out this winter, don't they?
They just had one come out called One Piece Stampede. It just released in the UK this week, but it was released in the US back in November. And it was great. Great show. I love One Piece.
Is it high? Is the genre like high fantasy? Like, so remove manga from it. So if we can't use manga as a selling point, and so other than a manga fan, like who is the recommendation to, like, high fantasy or superhero or?
Okay, so it's like a pirate adventure mixed with X-Men type powers. There's an element that gives different characters abilities, and they're often elemental abilities or kind of quirky abilities. There's also kind of animal based abilities. But yeah, so there's like these kind of mutant type abilities, but it's all used in different ways. A lot of times they're funny kind of quirks or abilities. Other times they're very intense or overpowered type abilities. And I don't
your main character got his power from eating a fruit.
Right. That's how most of the powers are imparted is through eating a fruit. But it's just a vehicle. It doesn't matter. What matters is that they have these abilities and how it affects the story. And the way the story goes is it's kind of like Gulliver's Travels. They go from one island to another. Each island has its own kind of unique characteristic, and then a problem that they have to solve related to that characteristic. Star Trek, Gulliver's Travels, anything where they're kind of island hopping and solving problems along the way.
I think the Netflix thing, them buying up all these anime properties, in direct response to them losing all the Marvel shows. I think this is how they're going to replace that, is with
they're trying to find something to kind of fill that void.
Because not only they have One Piece, they have one of my favorite animes coming in Cowboy Bebop. And then they have my next to Dragon Ball, one of my all-time favorite animes, and Avatar: The Last Airbender, coming to a live action show to Netflix. So,
well, and The Witcher, I think, was response to that as well.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of just a lot of great storytelling being done in other countries. The Witcher comes from is it Czech Republic?
I'm not sure, but I know The Witcher is based off the book, not the game, right?
Yes.
Because the game is based off the book, and the show is based off the book. No, the
games are not. The games pull loosely from the book, but they're not based off the book at all.
The show is more
elements from the book, but they're not like. Yes, correct.
Okay. Speaking of good stories being told in other countries, segueing into. Are we segueing into Parasite now? Because Sam teed it up really nicely there.
Yeah, that's what I do. I do. I love my segues.
don't we have more Fab or Flub to talk about here? Are we going to go right into
Well, we got an hour and 15 minutes in. It's probably time to get moving to the Parasite.
Yeah, let's get into Parasite. I think we pretty much beat the news, with a dead horse. So
who's playing Sue Storm? Do we talk about that?
Jessica Alba.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Done. Easy. Next topic.
Let's have Hugh Jackman play Sue Storm. All right. Let's go. Let's talk about Parasite. So we all seen the movie. Sam saw the movie a while back. correct? Because it was one of Sam's top 10 or top 5 of the year, correct, Sam?
That's right.
So, but I believe Travis, Matt, and I all saw it today.
Yeah, last night I watched it at midnight.
Roughly? Okay. So let's get
I dressed up like Rocky Horror Picture Show and had like my own private midnight viewing. It was a weird mix of movies.
Did you get the fishnets too?
Yeah. Oh, you got to have the fishnets, Lance.
But let's give our initial thoughts. Let's keep it spoiler light right now, and then we'll start getting into some more stuff, because I do think that this movie, a lot of people are going to start seeing it when the Oscars rolls around. And if it wins, a lot of people start seeing it. So let's give a spoiler light kind of overview of it real quick, and then we'll delve a little bit deeper. But Matt, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on it first.
I mean, I enjoyed it. I don't think I'm as high on it as everyone else is. I'm not. I think I'm the minority, not the majority in this film. I liked it for what it was. I thought it was good, but I don't see the value in it that everyone's going so crazy on it. And I don't think that I don't think the 99% fresh rating or 93% audience fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes is correct on this film. I would go more probably like 85-ish in my opinion. I mean, there's elements to this film I like. There's parts of it that creep me the hell out. But it just, to me, I don't know. It didn't hit home. It didn't grasp me the way I think it's grasping other people.
So the parts that creeped you out, was it the basement stuff?
Yeah. Well, no, it's just that one scene where the little kid is sitting on the floor eating cake, and then you just see the dude's like this half of his face come up out of the stairs, and it's like, okay, and he's got those bug eyes, and I'm like, man, that's a little much. But,
so should I not tell you that Travis, Sam, and I are live coming from your basement?
Well, if you're coming from my basement, there's got to be a problem, because we don't have those here in Arizona.
Well, I don't think they knew that there was a basement down there either.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. Hey, what's that pounding? There's a lot of pounding going on.
Travis, what's your initial thoughts on this film?
I think I liked it a little more than that. I think that 93% is probably what I would, give it about. I'll convert that to couch cushions here at the end. I think that it is another movie in this kind of that's been coming popular with Jordan Peele with Get Out and Us is the other one.
It does have a similar,
yes.
Yeah. It's that kind of psychological horror, but I only watched this midnight last night, and it's this movie that I think would service from a couple of viewings. One, to watch it, let it wash over you. One, to kind of look at like how they're layering in societal commentary in there. I love the layers. It's basements. It's beautifully architecturally designed homes. I love the setting. I love the setting in this. That's one of the things I love. I love the family dynamics. I think the turn is earned in these characters. It doesn't feel too quick. It feels what we see they're capable of doing. To some degree, I think is very earned, and I think that the lead up to that, the explosions and the turns as far as storytelling is a movie in itself, is enjoyable in itself. You can watch that movie. And then there are so many twists in this movie that I found were inventive, reminiscent of a lot of things. I think they're pulling from a lot of other places, but they do it so well, so inventively. I think it was acted fantastic. I think the acting in here was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I just wish I had another 2 days to digest it to really see if the flavor lasts. I'm still chewing this piece of gum, but last night I watched it and I was enthralled. I was enthralled with it.
I think the political message of the film was spot on too, if you pick that up. But I think that's might be for me, is that it's hard to, at least for me, it's hard to submerge yourself into this world and take everything that's going on in when you're reading subtitles.
Yeah.
And that's not a knock on the movie at all. But when you're reading and trying to keep up with what's going on, you're missing things. And I think maybe that's what did it for me.
Multiple viewings, for example, when a character is sitting on a shitter that is exploding with shit and sewage water in a basement
and they're lighting a cigarette.
A cigarette, you're like, what a great visual.
Yeah.
What a great visual. It's just
not to mention that shitter's on a shelf.
Yeah, not since the train spotting toilet methadone scene have I been so enthralled with a shitter scene. Anyways, that's my brief overview on it.
Sam, what about you?
Sorry if there's any background noise. So I saw it in November.
1 second, Sam. Hey!
There's that pounding again.
I saw 2 movies that day. I saw Richard Jewell, which was a movie about attorneys, and I'm an attorney, so that was a movie that really was powerful to me. And then I went immediately from Richard Jewell and went and saw Parasite. And Parasite was like, it started out as like kind of a fun movie, like maybe a crime, like a crime comedy almost. And then it took a left turn when the old housekeeper comes back, right? I mean, we all know that, but when the old housekeeper comes back, it takes a real left turn. It's the more I think about it, the more it's social commentary is why I think a lot of the critics were driving it up in their favorability ratings. For a lot of the folks who went and saw it, I think that twist is what gets the audience hearts pumping, because you don't see it coming. Unfortunately, I had seen a review of it and they said there's a twist. And just knowing that there's a twist, now you're on the lookout for it. And they do a good job telegraphing what the twist is as it goes. If you don't know that there's a twist, it probably hits you just out of the blue. But knowing that there's a twist, it's easy to spot as it comes along. So I think in a second viewing, Travis, you'll see how well they lay the foundation. And you're right that they did earn that turn, as you call it, or the twist. And like any good twist, it increases the tension exponentially. I mean, things get so crazy after that twist is revealed.
It amps it up to 100. Like right at that point, it goes boop, right straight up.
Straight to 11. It goes insane at that point. But there's little things, right? I mean, that's not really what makes things so horrible. One of the things that I really enjoyed was that there was just this little comment that the dad heard while the rich couple are kind of cuddling on the couch.
Oh, they say more than cuddling.
Yeah, well, no, before that, right?
Dude, that guy has my moves. That is my same move. It's a weird crotch, like clamp grab. I'm like, holy
what, the nipple
shit.
Rub clockwise?
The nipple rub, like crotch. I'm like, this guy, maybe I spent too long in Asia. I'm like, do all Asians do this? Is this like an
That's
behind the back between the
move.
rub.
That's not a move. That's just caveman stuff, man. We
behind the back between the legs, crotch rub. Huh?
But you don't see that in movies. You don't see that. It's usually a more of like I'm gonna do a passionate flip and then like a thing like this. But he's just like straight up like, I'm going for the goods. I want this and I want this.
Well, they've been married for some time, so
he goes, I want this and I want this, and you find that. He's like literally like, find it. you know,
skip all the crap and you just get right to the good stuff, man.
You normally get that from behind the back, or like behind the back shot of the woman riding the dude with the sheet covering him, and this one is like full on, just like crotch grab.
In matching PJs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that the scene right before they get it on, the wife, or I can't remember if it's the wife or the husband. No, it's definitely the husband. The husband's like, but what about the smell? What about the driver's smell? There's just some smell that I don't like. And that's the bit that kind of pushes him over the edge right at the end.
Smells are big in this. And I love how smells are a character trait, an identifying of class, an identifying of personality, an identifying of family in this movie is smell.
Yeah,
I love it.
And they do it so well that you start to think, like, you start to envision the smell they're talking about. Like, we all might be thinking of something different, but you start to envision, like, he's like, that same smell that you smell on the subway, you know?
Yeah.
Or it's just
or like a cheap laundry detergent.
Yeah. Can I tell you a quick side note on smells, because this reminds me of this week. So I usually wear like boots to work, something like that. So I have these like pair of Timbs. I know I have a pair of Timberlands I love. And I've been wearing it for a long time. And I'll usually put like, because it's work, I'll put like dress socks underneath them and stuff like that. And I feel like in my older age, my feet are stinking more. I got like vinegar toes or something like that by the end of the day.
That's called athlete's foot, bro. You might want to get that.
You rocking pickles in there, dude?
Yeah.
Dude, you got to get some tough acting tenactin on those puppies.
You know what? I thought this was a safe space. I thought this was a safe space to share.
There's nothing safe here, man.
At this point, a little bit of cancer might be your least worry. You might want to put a little bit of talcum powder on those bad boys.
What got you? The popcorn lung from vaping? No, it was the vinegar toes. So I was like, these boots I've worn for a long time, and stuff like that. And the other day I was, teaching, and they're sixth graders, so I get low to talk to them. So if I'm helping them, I'll get low at their desk, and I squatted down, and I'm like,
and someone in the class said, "Who the hell opened a bag of salt and vinegar?"
But I was down low enough. I'm like, I can smell my boots from here. So I'm helping the kid. I'm like, I gotta stand up and help you. I'm like, oh my, there's like a 3-foot radius. I'm like, I gotta throw these boots out. These boots are gone.
Oh my gosh.
So when I was watching that movie last night, and they were talking about their smell, I'm like, I wonder if that conversation's been happening about my boots with my 6th graders.
There's another movie out there that gave you the perfect remedy for that, and it's Holes.
You put them in the freezer.
Well, no, it's peaches and onions, man. That's what cakes that smell.
No, that's not true.
Put them in the freezer. Yeah, there you go.
Speaking of, that movie is underrated. That movie is fantastic, Holes.
I don't think it's underrated. I think everybody enjoyed that movie.
Yeah, but did it do that great in the box office?
Can you just name drop them already so we can get this trifecta of Couch Crunchers completed? It's not complete with there. Thank you. It's done. Well, thanks for watching Couch Crunchers, everyone. We'll see you next week.
How about Shia LaBeouf as Sue Storm? How about that?
We've got the pops. We've got the Supernatural shirt. There's Shia LaBeouf. It's over, folks.
That's right. Lance's safe word.
Shia
LaBeouf.
Yeah.
So
you probably scream that, don't you, when you're climaxing? Oh, Shia LaBeouf.
It's my O face.
Yeah,
Shia
instead
LaBeouf
of like
my O face.
like Steve Carell screams Kelly Clarkson when he's getting waxed. You just scream Shia LaBeouf.
He's grabbing nips and crotches.
Oh, LaBeouf all over you.
It's just LaBeouf.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Anyways,
that's your safe word, right?
Oh man,
that's how you know it's go time. Your wife rolls over and she's like, LaBeouf.
No, my safe word is Edgerton.
Oh, okay.
You're edging.
Sam,
you're on the edge of an orgasm. Edgerington.
Oh jeez. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Enough of the full circle.
Stuff.
I'm gonna have to mark the explicit one on this one.
Full circle back to Euro Trip. He can't pronounce the name right, so he never gets that full on like. It never stops. It's never a safe word because he can't pronounce it right.
Oh man.
What did you think of Parasite, Lance?
I was listening to you guys, and I think I share something from each of you in your breakdown of this movie. I agree with Matt. I think the subtitles took me out of it a little bit because I like to fully immerse myself in a movie. And I feel like the subtitles were taking me out of that immersion. So I was missing a lot of what was happening on the screen. That's not to say that subtitles are bad, but I think I would have enjoyed this movie a lot more if it was dubbed. I would think I would have liked it to be dubbed.
Well, here's what you do. Here's what you really ought to do, Lance, is you ought to learn the language of the movie before you go see it.
Yeah, Lance, put some work into it.
But But here's the thing, like I saw Pan's Labyrinth and I didn't feel that way with Pan's Labyrinth. Like I felt like I was much more immersed
in Spanish, dude. Everyone in Arizona knows Spanish.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is. But
subscribe to Rosetta Stone before watching this movie last night. And start my Korean.
If subtitles are your biggest problem,
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
no,
Go buy a Rosetta Stone.
I still would give. I still thought this movie was fantastic. In fact, when I was watching it and getting close to the end, I'm like, Anna, I just tell my wife, you need to see this movie. This movie's awesome. Like, it's fantastic. And I don't want a remake of it. They better not do a remake of it, because they did that with The Secret in Their Eyes, and that was horrible. But the movie, the intensity of the movie, I watched, the only thing I knew about this movie was a trailer. That's all I saw. I didn't read anything on this movie. I did not do any back work or anything like that. So the turn in this movie, or the twist, I didn't see coming. And I remember watching it, I'm like, holy, you know what I mean? Like, it caught me off guard, because I was not expecting this turn. I thought the ending of the movie was completely different than what I thought it was in the first half of the movie. I thought that these people were going to take over this home. There's a scene in there where she calls, what do they call that? They make up this fake institution, like the Care or something like that.
Yeah,
it's called
the mom,
yeah,
the Care. And the daughter, I don't remember her name, asks the madam for the title.
It's
to
Jessica,
the property.
isn't it? Her name is Jessica.
Thank you. Asked the madam for the title of the property, and I was like, oh, that's where this is going. They're going to overtake the house and just make it their own. Like, they're going to kill this family inside and just make it their own. That's where I thought it was going. And then the scene with the basement, I'm like, holy crap, I have no idea where this is going anymore. Like, it did a really good job of keeping me on my toes, you know what I mean? Because, like, the intensity was always there. And I thought the acting was fantastic. I thought that the dialogue was very well done. I thought everybody was believable. I loved how conniving these people were. Like, they're developing these. Why can't he just go in there and be like, oh, my sister's a great artist, you should hire her to be this kid's tutor? Like, they immediately start developing all these stories for these people, and it just gets them deeper and deeper in this hole. And then you have that scene where they're all drinking in the living room because the family went off camping, and they feel they've gotten away with it. And that should have been my first instinct, that something bad was going to happen.
But see, that scene right there is a reason why I didn't care for the movie so much, because where they're talking about, I was on the same thing where she was like, we want the title to the property, and they were making that reference to like, this is going to be our house. This is our house. This is our house now.
Yeah.
When they're in the drinking scene, and then at the end, we'll talk more. I'll come back to it when we're in the spoiler section, because I don't want to spoiler it up. But
I think that's referenced in the dialogue that the father, Mr. Kim, is giving, when he's saying, the son's asking him, do you have a plan? And the son's like, no, the only plan that doesn't fail is a plan that you don't make. And I think they had that plan to take over the house with the title and everything like that.
I disagree.
Then it got derailed.
I disagree completely.
I disagree. So you're taking it down like a single white female, where the intention was always to replace that family. I think that drunken conversation was daydreaming. I think the character even says, like, if I'm dreaming, I might marry this girl. And he goes, oh, you'll be the son-in-law, stuff like that. It's the housekeeper that comes in and brings in that idea that sets a chain of events in motion, that they become victim to fate, or they become victim to the circumstances. They just wanted them, like, they were like, this Parasite, because we are a family that is surviving off this other family. If we kill, the way a parasite works, if we what is it? There's a symbiote.
Can't kill the host. Yeah.
Which one can't kill the host? Right. And
yeah.
At the end, they end up.
I don't think it's that scene that did it for me. The specific scene that did it, the scene that did it for me is when she's acting like the institution that care, and she asks the madam for the title of the home. I'm like, why are you asking for the title of the home? That's what made me think that maybe there was they were going to overtake them. But I agree with you that the drinking scene was just daydreaming.
The question is, are we misunderstanding the interpretation of the title? Is the title maybe like the address, in their way of asking for the address? Because, like, to me, so the title of the home. She gave it to him. They already have it. And then they're in the drinking scene talking about how this is their home now. This is their house. This is their house. And then you get to the end, and after all the crazy stuff goes down and the son's daydreaming and he's like, I'm going to buy this house one day. That I was like, why are you going to buy this house when you've already been talking about how you own this house and you already have the title to the house? What is going on? Like, that's where I started questioning things. Is like, they already gave you the title. You're talking about how you own the house. And now you're talking about how one day, for a specific reason, and we'll get there when we get in the spoilers, that you're going to have to work hard to buy this house.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't understand. I thought maybe I didn't understand the title reference.
All right. Well, let's leave that behind. You guys can watch it again. But let's talk about the title. The title Parasite, the title of the movie Parasite. Whenever you have something like that, or whenever I see a movie like that, it's like the Walking Dead. The real question is, who does that refer to? Right? Because the Walking Dead, you think at first that it's referring to the zombies, but it really isn't. It's talking about the people who are living, who are going to be victims of these zombies or each other, right? That's the real Walking Dead, right? Yeah. And so with Parasite, the question is, who's the parasite? Is it the rich people who kind of
live on the
easy interpretation is that it's the poor people sponging off the rich people. They're the parasites. Right. But is there a deeper layer there where you could say, well, no, it's actually the rich people who could be interpreted to be the parasites, because they are living on the labor and on the backs of these lower income families who are putting in so much effort and labor for their success, for the rich people's success. And so that kind of ambiguity lends itself to a lot of interpretations. And I think that's why a lot of the critics really got behind it, is because they left that question: who is the parasite? Who is the host? And it kind of turned into this competition to see who could get closest to the rich family. And it was like competing organisms fighting over the same host body at a certain point. And it just was, it leads to a lot of social commentary, a lot of social, just thought about how our society has become so stratified. And maybe more so in Korea. I haven't visited Korea, so I don't know, but maybe more so in Korea, that it's stratified to the point where without the deception, they can't interact with each other. Without the false credentials, they can't even go to the wealthy neighborhoods. There's no reason for them to even go there. Right. It's just it's kind of a microcosm of the bigger picture, right? And so I think that's why a lot of people really responded to it, is because you can extrapolate kind of the larger problem of wealth inequality from this small anecdote, right?
Well, and I think the message of no matter how bad you have it, someone's always got it worse than you plays a big part in this movie too, especially with that other family. Because you see the rich family, and then you see the family that the movie's focused on, and then you get the people under the stairs.
Right.
Well, yeah. I mean, the exposition is really great because it follows that that screenwriter inciting incident 10 to 18 minutes. It needs to happen there. Great setup. The pizza box thing with the fumigation tells you. And the way the actors respond to that scene, looking for Wi-Fi is how it starts off. They're running around the house looking for, I got it. Yeah. Folding the pizza boxes. You learn, one, these guys are survivors. They're hucksters. They know how to navigate this. So it doesn't seem ingenuine when they start like trying to find the angles to this family. 2, it shows their ambition. 3, it shows all that the poverty and the family dynamics. And then you have the outside character coming in, the boy who's going off to, brings the message in. Hey, I need you to do this thing. First 12 minutes and we're off and running. We've very skilled. There's a lot in that first 12 minutes that sets up that really helps us believe the family is capable of doing what they want to do. But also at the same time, this family is you still root for him the whole way through. You know, you're still rooting for this family. At least I was. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I
don't
was
put
too.
words in your mouth.
And I think what endeared them a little bit more to me too is there's several points through the movie where it shows they actually do care about other people. Like he has a discussion about the driver that was fired and whether he found another job. So it shows you that they're willing to do what it takes to make themselves in a better position, but they don't want to hurt anybody else. So it kind of it's almost like this justified dishonesty, right?
Right.
Like that's what I got out of them, that they're an endearing family. They care about each other, but they don't want anybody else to get hurt, but they also want to be the ones, they also want to take care of themselves. So it says it at that point. And then like he has oh crap, I had something else. There was another point in that movie where they were worried about somebody else. When he's kind of like, hey, we'll slip you food and stuff like that.
When they're doing,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, at the party when the mom's serving the food and she goes, "Here, take this down to, you know, the people that are under the stairs."
Yeah, so it shows that they care about other people. They're just trying to do what they can for their family. So I think it makes them it humanizes them a little bit, and you start to root for them.
An interesting thing, and I wonder if this is a Korea Western thing versus Western thing, is the poverty that our protagonist family is in it forces them to be closer together, as opposed to the wealth of the richer family. There's a coldness in there. They're relying on other people to kind of raise or teach their kids. They're still interacting, you know, doing birthday parties.
It's almost like a corporate office.
Dad's talking, but oftentimes, oftentimes when we look at poverty in the States, we think that poverty means like you're working 3 jobs, so you can't spend time with the kids. So that the family unit is split apart because of poverty, because, you know, there's latchkey kids and mom and dad are working, or there's only one in the picture. But in this one, poverty actually forces that family closer together to work as one unit, where I think sometimes in Western versions of poverty, it is that was what caused poverty, is the dissolving division of the family unit. So I thought that was interesting, that poverty actually brought these guys together to focus as one unit, whereas wealth, kind of every one of the people in that wealthy house was very separate and cold.
Nothing says family bonding like nothing says family bonding like throwing water on a dude taking a piss outside your window.
Dude,
I laughed so hard at that scene. Yeah, and it's in slow mo when he throws the
way
bucket,
they shot it.
and he completely misses, and it all hits his son. Yeah,
I would take that and like frame it and like that still and put it on the wall.
It was a great shot.
Oh yeah, it was fantastic, and they're all just laughing, having a good time, because finally they reached the point where, okay, we're sustainable, and they were having this moment of being relaxing. It was almost an empowering moment when he's like, I'm going to go out there and say something to him. When before in the beginning of the movie, he's like, oh, how can he do that? You know what I mean?
Because he's now in a different, he's in a different class than that pisser. Before, when he didn't have money, they were in the same class. So like, oh yeah, you don't encourage them. But now that they got a little bit of stuff coming in, he's like, you know what? I'm going to do what those people would do to me, to this guy, you know, but it's class within class.
But sorry. Go ahead, Sam.
No, go ahead, Matt. You go.
No, you haven't talked, so
okay.
I've done enough talking.
I was going to say regarding the relatability of the family. I think they made some poor choices, right? They made some what we would call immoral choices. The deception primarily. And then when the family took off for their camp out, when the wealthy family took off for their camp out, the poorer family took liberties with the wealthy family's liquor and with their food and kind of threw themselves.
They got too comfortable.
But it's relatable. Like a lot of people would probably fantasize about that kind of lifestyle. And would fantasize about what would I do to get that kind of lifestyle. So I guess the question I have is, did the wealthy family deserve the fate that they got at the end? And that's kind of the question that has been hanging out with me for the last 2 months as I think about this movie is, did they deserve what they got?
I don't think
the
so.
wealthy family?
The wealthy family, right? Remember the dad did what he did at the end because he couldn't let go of the wealthy dad's comment about his smell. And he just couldn't let that go.
And I like how smell is referenced a lot in that movie too. Like when the son smells everyone, and he's like, they all smell the same. Haven't you all noticed that they all smell the same?
Yeah.
And then the dad's talking about his smell, and like I don't think they deserve what they got, but at the end I felt like there was a lot of faith put in the youngest child of the wealthy family too, from both of these groups, the main family follow, and then the lower people. And the richer people didn't take him seriously. They just thought, nothing of it. So I don't think they deserve what you get. But then again, you got to question if you're going to be as naive as they are, don't you kind of deserve what you get?
Well, I think go ahead, Travis.
No, that was an excellent question. I think too, Sam. I think I would say they purposely held information that you typically get with like stories like this, where it is a class. Sometimes they will say the class, it's like gentry. They've inherited their money. They didn't have to work for it or things like that. They specifically avoided talking about how this family earned their money. It's more about like the house and the architecture. If they had put that information in there, it would have been like, well, they didn't earn it. But this seems I don't.
The dad's clearly part of a tech company, because when you first see the dad who becomes the driver show up at his work, he's at some sort of tech company, so you can assume it's in tech somewhere.
And he says this line. He goes, "I respect people who master one skill for many years." Mm-hmm. So there's a sense that he respects the skill of a working class craftsman or entrepreneur. So. By comparison, we like the I forgot there's Park family, and I forget what the other family is called, Cho family or something like that. Our protagonist family, we're more endeared to them, so we're rooting for them. But I don't think that the rich family was completely villainized, and I don't think that they deserved what they got in the end. I would say they don't, and I think that is what is one of the more heartbreaking things about this. It's not a family versus a family. It's environmental and societal and political structures have created this system where that dad can get set off by that thing, by that comment. Sets him off. He's not reacting to that particular man. And the fact, after he does it, he starts banging his head. He's like, I'm sorry. He apologizes. He's like crying over the photos of that man in the basement. And he's like, I don't know why I did it. And that's the thing. He's like, he was driven in a moment of extreme pressure and everything else. And he reacted with animal savage instinct against a society, a system. And then the only thing he could do was attack the representation of that, or what he thought was the representation of that. So it was we put him in the most extreme situation. His daughter is dying in his arms. He's looking around and he lashes out like a tiger, and the outcome of that is, and he says it in the letter. Yeah. He says it in the letter. He goes, I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know what I was doing. I went paraphrasing. He's like, I went blind with thought.
But in this movie, the outcome is 100% the protagonist family's fault, because if you look at it like this, the rich family was very nice to them. They were very nice to them. They made sure they were taken care of. That they showed interest in their lives. If they weren't in places they shouldn't have been, he would have never heard him talking about the smell, because they never said it about him in front of them.
That's a great point. That's a great point, Matt.
If they were never in places they shouldn't have been, none of this would have happened, and they wouldn't have heard all of that. So it's kind of, they got what they deserved. It was kind of, I don't know. It's just,
But the idea of saying places they never should have been, meaning like there's no reason that someone of that class should be in this, and then it becomes like a class thing. So, you know, like what happens behind the doors of an ivory tower?
Yeah.
You know, that's a great point, though.
It's like, you know, everyone does it. You talk about something like, oh man, did you see how that way that guy looks or that guy smells? Or, you know, if you're not there to hear it, is it going to set you off? And the fact that he was where he shouldn't have been to hear it. So it's pretty much this whole movie, the events of this whole movie are their fault.
We do it all the time on Comic Exposure. We talk so much shit about Couch Crunchers and Absolute Geek, knowing that none of you should be in there. This is why we don't do a live chat. We don't do a live chat.
You know, I also want to point out that in contrast to the poor family, you said it was the Cho family. I can't remember the names. The Park family is the wealthy family.
Yeah.
The Cho family comes in, and within a matter of, I think it's 2 weeks. 2 weeks time, they have totally destroyed the Park wealthy family.
Kim clan is what they call them. Yeah.
The Kim family totally destroys the Park family within a matter of a couple weeks at most. Whereas the old housekeeper and her husband were able to live symbiotically with the Park family for years.
Well, here's where I pose this question to you.
She came from the prior homeowner.
Right. But that's where I pose that question to you, though. Did the Kim family destroy the Cho family, or did the events get set off because the Kim family destroyed the lower class family because they forced everything out? They forced her out as the housekeeper, which then in return made them now poor, and now her husband's left in there and driving. You know, their direct. They affected, I think, the poor family in that aspect more than they did the rich family.
Well, I'm gonna voice some things that I'm just now thinking of, and we can kind of workshop it. I don't know if it's going to be great when it comes out, but we'll workshop it and see if it's any good. But to me, I'm thinking now that there's a message here about morality, and that the wealthy family didn't deserve what they got. Neither did the old housekeeper and her husband. And the reason why everything went sideways was because this other family, it's not that they reached for more than they deserved. It's that they went about it in an immoral fashion that broke the societal taboos. And it broke the social fabric that they had, that was established. And by doing that, they destroyed not one, not two, but 3 families. Entirely. There were 3 families eliminated. The wealthy family, the Park family, they left the house. They got out of there. And then all the casualties, every family had casualties. And so it was all the result of lies. And I guess the broader question is, how does that translate to us here and now in a society where we have fake news all the time? Everybody's lying to each other. The social fabric is falling apart, not because of wealth inequality, but because of immorality. Is that the issue? Is that what they're trying to say? I don't know.
So.
It's something I'm workshopping.
I think he's onto something, honestly. If you think back about the way the film plays out, I think Sam's onto something, because it is their own. It's a morality thing. I don't think it's so much about your class status.
Think about the family that's in the basement. They're there because of debt collectors, right? And the idea that their system is set up where we can take out vast amounts of debt with no way of paying it back. But
they were also going to loan sharks. Like, she specifically says that, you went to loan sharks. So they were taking out debt illegally.
Yeah.
But I mean, the system of being able to take out, it's a representation of a credit card company,
Right.
Yeah, the consequences are a little bit more extreme, which services the story why you have to go into hiding as opposed you can go into destitution, which it sounds like they already were. But the reason I don't think it's morality is I think it is, I think low morality or poor moral decisions is a survival mechanism for a system that pits people against each other. We set the rules of a political, of a social, of an economic system, and then when things aren't working out the way, then we start having, for survival purposes, then we have to start making moral decisions. That whole philosophy of, is it okay to steal something if you're starving? Can you steal an apple if you're starving? Is that okay? That's one of the, Aristotle, I don't know if it's Aristotle, but one of those very foundational philosophical questions. And people debate this for centuries. Is it okay to steal an apple if you are starving? And
is it okay,
the
Travis?
Kims stole an apple,
Yeah, here's the question though. I mean, this is kind of where the last question was leading to is it okay to murder a wealthy man because he thinks you smell poor?
No, but I think his reaction in that moment wasn't a choice. It was a reaction. He was reacting against something. I don't think he had any, I'm sure there's bitterness, but I don't think his intention was to murder them. And so it's what happens when you're put to that point, when you're pushed to that point and something sets you off. I don't think it was a choice. If he had the choice means I have seen both sides. I have weighed. Well, I guess I'm just kind of just speaking to speak, but I don't think that moment there was a choice for him. Even the way they shot it, it was almost like his body was moving on his own. He picks up the knife. There's that classic, like I am like possessed by something else, camera shot, and then it's in there, kind of. It's the same way that the other guy was reacting against them. He comes up from the basement to avenge his wife, and it's almost like he's possessed with something that's not his own.
It's a crime of passion. Like it's just blind rage.
I don't think it's blind rage. I think it's a culmination of everything that takes place in this movie.
Culmination is better than blind rage. Yeah,
it's not I don't think it's necessarily the smell. It's the smell mixed with the disrespect that he gets on from his own wife. There's that scene where he gets mad at his wife and he's like about to hit her and he stops and he's like, I fooled you, and she basically says like he's incapable of doing anything like that. Like he's gonna run the other way. And you kind of see that when the daughter gets stabbed and they're screaming at him to throw the keys and he throws them and like they fall into the other dude's body, and then it just kind of plays through where they're screaming for him to do something, so he takes the knife. It's just that whole built up of all the disrespect he's received through the entire movie, and he pulls a knife out and just goes. Like I think it's just like he had that breaking point and he was like, I'm done. But I don't think it's specifically the smell. It's the culmination of the disrespect he's getting on different levels throughout this entire movie.
Or the fact that they're standing there in Indian headdresses and he doesn't want to do it. And the guy's like, well, it's your job. You're being paid extra. You can see the grimace in his face.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm going to go back to something that Matt said, which is the whole thing, the whole series of events and everything was put in motion with an initial deception. And Matt brought that up, that the bad situation and the kind of the roller coaster climbing was all driven by the Kim family's choices to deceive and to take advantage of the Park family.
But I said, go ahead.
And so as it's winding up and up and up, and the tension is getting higher and higher, once it's on the downhill slide, it's like the consequences are going to come, and they're going to come quick. But who put the roller coaster at the top of that hill? Who set that potential energy in motion? Who wound the clock? There's all kinds of metaphors, but
that damn college kid who won that young.
Also,
girl.
by the way, he was fooling around with the girl too. He was fooling around with the daughter too, and then I think that daughter was a player, man. She went after her too.
Well, that's what I think too. I kind of sat there and I was like, "Is this just a cultural thing?" I was like, "Cause like this dude is a pedo. Like he's clearly older than her, and he's like, I'm gonna ask her out when she gets into the college age or school age, and it's like, how old is this girl? And how what is going on here?" And like nobody seemed to care. Like the parents didn't care. Like nobody cared. The mom's like, "Oh,
there's a bit of a cultural thing in there, I think, as well. I mean, I think it's as well. Yeah. Well, I think it's also like how sex is viewed in Asia in general, and what fantasies are and things like that.
It's not as intimate.
It's real murky. Well, there's like that whole idea of innocence as being very fantasized here. Like I don't think there's more or less pedos in Eastern Asia than there are other places. But as far as that taboo being talked about, like the idea of like you can go on walk through alleyways to see posters of like, people who are clearly, they're not schoolgirl age, but they're meant to look like schoolgirl age, just like plastered around. And it's like, oh yeah, this is kind of like a male sexual kind of fantasy. There is something attractive about an innocence. God, this is now I do not want to be the representative of Asia in this podcast. Even though I've been living here for like 25 years, I'm realizing I'm like, shaky ground. That's a whole different podcast. I could talk about that for a long time. But anyways.
So going back to what we were talking about earlier with the smell and kind of him being caught off, or him being feeling disrespected. Kim is who I'm talking about. I thought it was interesting too that earlier when they're drinking in the living room, they were saying how nice these people were, and how if I had money, I'd be nice too, and all this stuff. And then they do something that's not nice and talk crap about the way they smell, or the woman sitting in the car and she's plugging her nose and rolling down the window and stuff like that. All these subtleties that make her seem maybe not so nice.
To be fair, in that one, he did just spend the whole night like covered in shit sewer water
and so running through the rain.
For that one, I was like,
that goes back to what I brought up before, and I think you stepped away. Was if it goes back to being their fault, because if he wasn't there and he wasn't in a place he shouldn't be, he wouldn't have heard that, and he wouldn't have her doing that wouldn't have even mattered to him.
Right.
So I think the event, go back to Sam's question, the events of this movie are 100% the Kim family's fault.
So going off that, Matt, because of social media, because of the exposure, because of less privacy in people's world, are the different classes starting to get that under table peek at the comments and the things that they say about each other? So we in the room, they're actually underneath the table, sitting there where they shouldn't be. But in society at large today, in the last 15 years, our classes, we get to see like what, Forbes, Fortune 500 people, like with the way, here's a tweet from them. Like, whoa, that's not something I would have seen 30 years ago, but now you put it out. Those are things that they're meaning to put out there, or the way things are videotaped and stuff like that. All of a sudden, we're
99%ers.
We're seeing glimpses, these private glimpses into the 1%ers' lives that they never meant to share, and we find it revolting.
Well, to answer your question though, with social media though, I think the way social media is today, those lines are blurred. I think those lines are blurred more than ever, because you can make yourself look like a 1%er on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. You can be whoever you want to be online and do whatever you want to do online. You know,
like the Kim family.
Exactly. Yes. If I want to make myself look like a billionaire baller, I can do that by simply renting a Ferrari and taking pictures, or just anything like that. Like, it's the lines of social class, I think, are
like
are
Lil
so
Bow
blind.
Wow.
Yeah,
And
there you go.
That Lil Bow Wow.
And interestingly, that is how they got access to that house in the first place, is by pretending to be of a class they are not, or having a skills they're not,
Right.
And I think we
pretending
have
to be people
these,
they're not. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we have these people on social media, whether they be like quote unquote influencers and stuff like that, are getting escorted into these 1% realms. Yeah. And it's a good point, Matt.
But does it also, so speaking of that pretending to be something they're not, does it also say something that they feel that they have to do that because the current state they're in is not giving them any opportunities, and this is a resort to maybe better their lives, that they have to pretend to be better than they actually are? They're sitting sitting in their basement and being fumigated and folding pizza boxes and everything like that. Like, the opportunities are not there until they lie. Is it saying something?
But then when does it come back to your opportunities are presented to you when you go after them? Because they went after this opportunity. They went, they weren't looking for it. It fell in their lap, and they took it upon themselves to go out and chase it and take it over. They seized their opportunity, is what I'm saying. How much of it they seize their opportunity instead of just sitting there saying, "Oh, well, there's nothing we can do about it.
Woe is me."
Yeah, woe is me. This opportunity was presented to them, and they seized it, and they started to benefit from seizing it. And then you get that bomb, that twist dropped on you, that where they think that at the beginning of the movie they think they're the lowest of the low, and then you get that twist where you see there's always somebody lower than you, and so it just kind of throws everything into chaos.
Well, Sam said earlier, he says it's like the beginning is almost part heist movie, right? It's got that kind of like almost Ocean's 11 kind of cuts and vibes to it. And now I think this is a more elevated kind of storytelling than Ocean's 11. But at the same time, you're in that sense, it's like, we root for the Ocean's crew, but they're the bad guys. They're the ones stealing shit. Right. It's like the casino owner who's like a jerk, and this 1%er, you're like, oh yeah, take your money. But you're like, no, this guy didn't do anything. He's running a legitimate business, and you're taking it from him.
Those movies do a good job to make you think like they almost like deserve it. They deserve, they deserve to get robbed.
Charm versus coldness is always you always go with charm. You always side with charm every time, almost. No, that was
like
wrong.
You start to root for this Kim family. And they're doing dishonest, horrible things. I mean, they're getting people fired. They're lying. They're forging documents.
Almost killing people with allergies. That was the most egregious one.
Oh,
the peach stuff. I'm like, this woman can
chemical
go
warfare.
Into
But to go back to what
doing horrible things.
That is very not ASMR. But what's the textile one where like they're shaving a peach? I'm like, oh, that looks actually like kind of a lot of fun.
But to go back to Sam's point, like the Kim family's responsible, and they got what they deserved because they took that roller coaster to the top, and it went over. Just like what is it? Like Joker says at the end of the movie when he's on the talk show, you get what you fucking deserve, and that's exactly what happened to them. They got what they deserved.
Yeah, but I don't know if Jessica, the end result of what she got is really what she deserved. I don't think, like, I was a little bit sad to see that she. Are we we've spoiled it. We've been spoiling it for the last 45 minutes, right?
Not really, but let's go for it.
Yeah, we've been pretty good, I thought.
So we're spoiling it. So she is murdered at the end of by the crazed guy, the guy that's in debt at the end of the movie.
All right, there's so many moving parts here. Like nobody understands what's happening. You wouldn't understand it unless you saw it.
But even at
Jessica
that point,
is like one. Yeah, it is.
Even at that point when she's laying there dying, she doesn't seem to care because she's kind of hit that. Oh, this is what I deserve. We're getting what we deserve moment.
Yeah, but I think that was such an absolute end to her, and I don't think that what she did equated to that punishment. Like, I don't think
rarely does the punishment fit the crime though. Like, you know, you've got people in jail. Sam being a lawyer, you got people in jail for life for marijuana use. You know, it's like rarely does the punishment fit the crime, and that's kind of what it amounts to, is that she's being punished for their actions, but the punishment maybe isn't worth, you know.
But the other three didn't really get any. I mean, the one, the son,
the dad is in prison, exile, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
But he hasn't faced like the authorities and stuff. What I'm saying, like I'm saying that
he's gotten worse punishment. He had to face himself.
He had a way worse.
The son got his head smashed in, which I don't know how he recovered from.
And he had to face himself and living with that. And now he went from this upper class to being that bottom class, because now he's the guy locked in the basement, you know, and he can't leave. So he got a worse punishment in the end. I'm
just saying it just seems so sad for her to be killed like that. For
Lance, it's a tragedy. It is a tragedy.
There's no happy ending here.
It's tragic. Exactly. There is no happy ending. It's tragic because we don't feel like anybody deserved what they got.
Right.
We rooted for the Kim family because at the beginning of the movie, they were happy. And we talked about these opportunities and trying to better their lives, but we're putting ourselves in that position. And I don't think that's fair. Because the question is not whether you, Lance, would be happy in their situation. It is whether they're happy in that situation. And they ended up lying and cheating and taking opportunities that ended up destroying their families. And they were not happier in the end. And the reason why we tell these stories is so that we can kind of inoculate ourselves against making the same bad decisions. So when you see this story, you're going to say, okay, I remember in Parasite, when they lied to advance their station, everything went to shit. Everything went sideways. And so when that opportunity comes to you, you're going to say, okay, I remember that. And I know that it's better to be moral, even if it means I'm not getting ahead or I'm not cheating my way to the top. It's better to be moral, because if I don't be moral, things could turn out like they did for the Kim family.
Well, how do you say? I know that this isn't the way with the Park family, because it leads us to believe that they did everything honestly. But there are people in the 1%, if you want to call them that got that way, doing dishonest things, just like the Kim family.
I think
true.
85%, most likely.
Well, I don't know what the number is, but
yeah. But you're not wrong.
Let's say that's true. Let's say they all did it that way. Does that mean that it's right to kill them? Does that mean it's right to steal from them?
But do you think that the Kim family felt justified because they believed that the Park family got there by dishonest deeds?
No, I don't think that's what I think. What they were doing is saying, we can get by taking a little bit and they won't notice. They have so much, they won't notice the little bit that we're taking.
It's like the Office Space taking the half a penny from every...
Something like that, where they're so rich that they neglect all the little details. And because there's space where they have blind spots, we will take advantage of those blind spots. That's the choice that they're making. It's not that they felt like the Park family were bad people. Not at all. It's that they were naive, and they didn't check all their blind spots. That's why the Park family suffered.
And they set that up for you right at the beginning, because the kid comes in and he's like, the mother is simple. She's simple. Yeah.
And I think that's because she didn't earn that money. Here's the thing, though. I don't think it's necessarily. I don't know how I feel don't know how I feel about it being morally wrong, where if someone has so much, they don't recognize when things are being taken away, when their resources are so oversaturated that they're consuming so much more than they need, that if someone's like, they got too much, they're not even going to realize I take that. I have nothing. I don't know. I think that is, as a human instinct, it's like, you've got more than you need. I have less than I need. Like, oftentimes it's just like, I'm just going to take what you have. But I think, I don't know if I think that's it. I don't know if I'd have to go back to like think philosophical about this. But I don't know if that's a bad thing.
Well, Travis, I don't know if you heard the question earlier, but or the comment earlier, but
I got wireless headphones. I hear it when I'm peeing.
Okay, well, then, was the Kim family happy before the events that took place in this movie? Were they happy?
It seemed like
they were shot like it was. They shot that opening scene with the Wi-Fi and how they were struggling with a problem, but still finding some kind of fun and joy and in it.
I don't take them as being happy at the beginning of the movie.
Maybe the dad certainly wasn't. When they're getting fumigated and he's full in the pizza box, he looks miserable.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like they were doing that to survive, like penny pinching. They were penny pinching. They were doing the pizza box folding to make a quick buck. It was on the side under the table money because they said the son says, you're gonna to the pizza lady, offer me a real job. I'll be there tomorrow for the job interview. You need somebody to do this. And she's hesitant to hire anybody. So they're kind of doing it on the side under the table for table scraps. And you can tell they make the reference to the mom and dad being out of work. And that's the whole fumigating thing. The dad's sitting there folding pizza boxes while the rest of the family's choking because they can't afford to have their apartment fumigated. So he's just like, open the windows and let it go. So I don't think they're happy. And that's why they're trying to reach for that next social class. Is they don't come off as happy to me. You know, come off maybe that's just me. Yeah, they're survivors. That's what it is. They're like cockroaches. They're surviving.
Do you think this movie would have garnered as much attention, or maybe would have been, because there are certain this conversation proves that this is what a good movie does, is it's that neutral kind of gray area where you can debate and you can bring in things from your life and your philosophy to it and all this stuff. But do you think this would have been as highly acclaimed if it took place in the United States?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
And I think the problem with the United States is that you don't have any city structure that is as relatable or that would translate to the flooded street that they live on. Because that is a very important part of the movie, is when all the rain hits their little cul-de-sac with all of the tenement housing and everything gets flooded out. Like that's a very important moment. And I don't know that there's not a neighborhood that I've seen in the United States that kind of fits that bill. Maybe there is, but I'm not familiar with
New Orleans.
I would think of, maybe New Orleans.
Lance.
I was thinking more of like Brazilian favelas would kind of kind of translate well to that same type of situation.
But I guess I'm wondering, is it too on the nose for us to look at our own, as Americans watching this movie? Would it be too on the nose? Would it be like, all right, and okay, we get it? Does the politicalness, if it takes place in the United States, kind of maybe turn people off? You know, because there's social commentary in this movie. I think, if we put it in the States, would it be too too on the nose?
I think that this movie, like with the political undertones that it has, it doesn't like outwardly explain those. It doesn't outwardly like point a finger at those political undertones. I think if it was an American movie, they would almost use the political stuff as the forefront. Does that make sense?
Like a purge type thing?
Yeah, like they would use the political stuff as the villain, but I don't think that this movie yes, it touches on it, but it doesn't explicitly say politics did this, social class did this. It does it in the way of the storytelling and the character development better than what a U.S. movie would do. I think the U.S. movie would push.
Yeah, Jordan Peele does a good job of hiding the
yes,
the thing under layers of stuff. Yeah.
Like when I saw the trailer for Get Out, I was like, oh no, this is a movie that's going to piss off white people everywhere. And then I saw the movie. I was like, you know what? He did this pretty, like, almost covertly. You know what I mean? Like, yes, the undertones are there, but he doesn't like come out and say, screw white people like most movies would. You know what I mean? Like, I think Get Out is the perfect comp to this movie.
One thing I thought about in this movie, maybe I'm the only one that caught it, is like how good they made American products look. Like what we make is the best of the best, because she's
they said it several times.
Yeah, I got that bow and arrow from America, so that's why it's like shooting everywhere. And
it's not gonna leak because
exactly. I bought the tent from America, so it's not gonna leak. Yeah, it's I don't know. There's just so many, like you guys said, there's so many undertones, so many things to this, layers to this movie that, like, it's almost like an onion. When you try to peel it back, you find something else. And I don't know.
I'm definitely gonna watch it again. I'm gonna watch it again. I want to, now that I know the story, I think I can focus on what's on the screen a lot more. Like, even if I miss some of the lines, because I was just reading along. I could have watched this. I could have done this in a book and received almost the same level of interaction with it. I did have the volume up and everything like that because I wanted to get the tone and the inflection in their voices and things like that. But I'm going to watch this again.
But to go back to Travis's question, I don't think if this was an American movie, it would have changed anything. If they have the acting is fantastic in this movie. Just,
right.
There's many good things going on for this movie. I don't think whether it's in America or Korean or anything like that, it would make a difference. I still think it would still be well regarded
if they kept the story the same.
Yeah,
if they didn't try
the same acting level.
If they didn't try to Americanize it, is what I'm trying to say.
I think the temptation would be to try and point out that the system is the villain. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they did that. I don't think they did that with Parasite. I think it's open to interpretation. And I think they did a really good job of saying it's complicated.
Right.
Class struggle is not as simple as we may think. And the solution of, off with their heads, let them eat cake, these kind of like tone deaf,
flippant
class, condescending solutions, kill the rich or let them eat cake. Those types of responses are so unwarranted. And I think this movie does a great job highlighting that it is complicated, and we have a long ways to go before we figure out what the right solution is.
There's a lot of victims. There's a lot of victims in this movie, and it's just, what are they victims of? I think that's the question that this movie poses. Lots of victims. What are they victims of?
Yeah,
I think if they Americanized this movie, it would just be like The Purge. Like,
well,
I feel like.
Go ahead.
I feel like it would be so. I feel like it would be so dumbed down. Like, I don't know. This movie works because of who did it and the restraints that he didn't have to overcome. You know what I mean? It probably would have been different if it was like an indie movie of some sort that didn't have a budget behind it or anything like that. But I don't know.
So I have this on here. Maybe we can use this before our cushions. These are what it's nominated for the Oscars. So I'll run through the categories and what it's nominated for, and you see if any of these you would agree that this movie should get the award. Best Picture. It is nominated for Best Picture. So we'll start off right there. Oh, actually, let's end with Best Picture. Best Film Editing. Best Film Editing.
No, I don't think so.
What's it up against?
What do you think is better? What do you think is better edited?
Let me see if I can click on this and if it will take me to it. Well, we talked about what was it? 19. I'm now forgetting the. Well, yeah,
1917.
We talked about that. Yeah, we talked about that as having a very unique editing style as far as that illusion of one cut. That is certainly because it's more of a kind of a less used way of editing. That one's probably a heavy runner in there. I think the editing in this is really strong, but will it be recognized by the Academy as the best? I don't think anything
in editing is really groundbreaking in this movie, right? Like it just seemed.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I don't think there's anything that with the editing style that's Oscar worthy.
I think it's been edited well. Like I think they did a good job, but I don't think. To me, when I hear these Academy Awards and stuff like that, like I think the winner should be somebody that did something groundbreaking. And I think 1917 probably fits that list better.
I haven't seen 1917 yet, but I mean that's what it's getting most of its recognition for is the fact that it's a film that's made to look like it's all done in one take. So to me that would be the more groundbreaking editing.
I would vote for that one.
All right. Well, it's 6 categories here, so move on to the next. I agree. I don't know if I'd give that for. I like the editing. This. I don't know if I would give it to it. Best production design.
I thought the set was beautiful.
Me too. I really liked it. Even the way they shot like outside their home, like their little streets and things like that. I thought it was.
What's it up
really
against?
Strong. I'm just. I gotta click. When I click
The Irishman.
Talking. Okay,
I got it. The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. Again, 1917 has some beautiful shots. But it's hard to go up against that movie.
So does Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, though, too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately have not seen Jojo Rabbit yet, and I want to so bad.
But Jojo Rabbit is kind of
Jojo Rabbit
design feels like Wes Anderson a little bit. It's very Wes Anderson-y as far as the color schemes and like there's lots of wallpaper and stuff going on in that movie.
Yeah, but Taika Waititi does this really great theme. He's dubbed it funny sad, where he's finding humor in very tragic situations. And so any movie that you see where Taika Waititi is behind the director or is in the director's chair, you can bet it's going to be funny sad.
Best original screenplay. Lance, do you have the ones that they're up against for best original screenplay?
I think it deserves that one hands down.
Oh yeah,
hands down.
There's a lot of original stuff happening here.
The other nominees are I know one of the other nominees is Knives Out.
Yep, and then their Marriage Story, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite.
I think Parasite deserves it hands down.
Yeah,
overall,
I think Parasite is such a unique offering this year. It definitely
we've kind of seen all the other ones, right? Kind of like we've kind of seen those before. This
it's really difficult to categorize Parasite because the first half is kind of this fun crime story, and then the second half is just crazy.
Where I've said this is brilliant writing. They got me at the pizza boxes. I go, what a weird, interesting way to show so many things in one area: poverty, modernization, all this stuff. And I was like, and it's funny. It's a funny, like folding pizza boxes is a funny visual. That to me, I thought that was. I was like, oh, this is already a well-written movie, creative. They're pulling from other things. Yeah.
Well, like. Yep. Sam just said, you can split this movie in 2 categories: your achievement and then the consequence for that achievement, because that's what it is. Like the first half is them achieving their goal, and then the second half is the consequence and the downfall from achieving that goal. So,
I always say that fiction is all about the worst case scenario, and I think Parasite really nails the worst case scenario on the head in this one.
But is it the best foreign language film?
Even outside of foreign language film, it is a great film.
Well, no, he's segueing. That's the other award.
I haven't seen any other foreign language film this year. So.
Best foreign language film.
Yes,
it's best international feature film is what it says here.
Yes, I feel so.
Well, I haven't seen the other ones, so I kind of feel biased in this.
And then best director. A lot of tough competition.
Bong Joon-ho is really good. He's a really good director. He directed Okja, Snowpiercer.
Snowpiercer is fantastic. Love that movie.
And I listened to an interview with him. He got a lot of stuff cut. Weinstein was in charge of that. They used to call him Edward Scissorhands because he would just cut stuff. And he and Weinstein, he's telling the story about that scene where the guy's like gutting a fish, and Weinstein's like, you got to cut that. He's just cutting stuff, and he goes, "No, I have to keep that. My father was
Harvey
a fisherman."
Weinstein.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh. And so he was telling him, he told Harvey that like, my father was a fisherman. We had to keep that in. And he goes, "Oh, it's important." So he had to like lie to keep. He had to figure out ways to try to make it, because he said, I've never done a film that wasn't a director's cut. And all of a sudden Weinstein wanted to start making decisions on what goes into my film. And so that was tough for him. And it still turned out a great movie.
So he's up against, for best director, Quentin Tarantino, Sam Mendes, Todd Phillips, and Martin Scorsese. Now, I've seen all these movies except The Irishman. I have not watched The Irishman yet.
I've seen The Irishman.
It's boring. I don't think Scorsese deserves it for The Irishman.
I feel like he gets nominated a lot on his name.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
And
it's because and the people he works with too. So, but
I'd say that Todd Phillips, Sam Mendes, and Bong Joon-ho, I don't know.
I want it to go to Tarantino or Bong Joon-ho. Those are the two that I'd give it to.
I thought Joker was fantastic.
Sam Mendes.
Sam Mendes is going to be really tough to beat, but I think Bong Joon-ho and Sam Mendes are the front runners here.
I agree. But I think Todd Phillips could be a sleeper.
Academy love movies about Hollywood. And,
That's true. That's true.
Well, and the other thing to keep in mind now is the Academy is now 16% actors. So you're going to look at the acting in a lot of the ways they're voting, and it's going to be I think Sam hit it with his too. I don't think Phillips is going to get it, and I don't think Tarantino gets it.
And then the last one, of course, is the Best Picture.
I don't think it gets Best Picture. I think Joker is going to get Best Picture. Joker's been,
but it beat out everything. It beat out Joker in what was the one
Golden
we just
Globes?
had? Golden Globes.
Yeah,
it did beat out Joker.
No, sorry, I'm thinking of Best Actor. So yeah, it could be. It most likely will be Best Picture, but
I think it comes down to this one. I think it comes down to Parasite, 1917, and Joker.
Aside from how you think the Academy is going to vote, would would any of you put it as against those movies? Is that the best of those movies? Not of all the movies that came out this year, but of those movies it's up against.
Well, I haven't seen 1917, so for me personally, between this and Joker, I like Joker more.
You need to go watch 1917, dude. It's fantastic.
I'll watch it. I'll pull a Kyle and I'll watch it when it's on Redbox.
The big screen does offer something to this movie.
It just seems like it's a Saving Private Ryan set in World War I, because it's kind of the same premise.
I think it's better than Saving Private Ryan, and I liked Saving Private Ryan. This is like a cross between Saving Private Ryan and Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's a good movie, dude. It's really good, but I don't know. It's hard, dude. I loved Joker so much, but Parasite, I recognize that it's an achievement in filmmaking. I thought it was very good, but Joker, to take a comic book property and do what they did with it, and the performance of Joaquin Phoenix in that movie. Oh man. I don't know. I wouldn't be mad if either one of these won. 1917 included. It's those three I think are the best movies I've seen from last year.
I think Parasite takes home Best Picture.
I think it does just
is that what you want, Sam? Is that what you believe is the Best Picture of those?
Okay, so I've seen most of the Best Picture nominees. I will say that I haven't seen Ford v Ferrari, The Irishman, or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, or Little Women.
You saw Little Women? Oh, okay. I was gonna say,
I saw that one.
Did you?
But
yeah, they're like this big. I live in Japan, man. I see that woman all the time.
Man.
No, I did see it.
Travis is always good for those zingers.
Just of all the movies on the list, I feel like Parasite not only delivered something completely new, but it did so in a very well executed way. And it's also timely. And we sat here and we chatted about it for an hour and a half. And we still haven't got to the bottom of it.
But don't you think that Joker and Parasite kind of touch on the same social,
same nerve?
Yeah. I think they both kind of attack that same type of story, obviously going about it very different ways.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Lance. I think Joker, Travis, you were asking, what if Parasite was set in the United States? And I think Joker is a pretty good example of what if Parasite was set in the United States. Joker is about the same kind of issues, class struggle, morality, in this type of very heavily stratified class system. But they blame the rich, they blame the society, and Joker, because of his mental handicaps, his delusions of grandeur, his laughing affect, all these things that he has no control over, is kind of pushed towards the violence and pushed towards the blaming of the people who persecute him. Whereas in Parasite, it is not that simple at all. And for me, when there's questions, I mean, you can track how one thing led to another, right? That's the story part of it. But the message of it is so much more complex. And I think we could all look at Joker, and Joker is as clear as the line he says to Robert De Niro right before he blows him away. What do you get? Well, you get what you effing deserve. And boom, right? And that's the punchline.
It has a very clear villain.
And we see
the villain.
The whole thing, the whole
But
2 hours of the movie is just set up for that one punchline. What's the punchline of Parasite? I think the punchline of Parasite is it's not that simple.
Well, I think the punchline of Joker is it's not that simple either, because I've had our conversations about Joker too, because if you really break down that movie, there's so much unexplained. You don't know if this is really happening. You don't know if this is going on in his head. You don't know what events are real and what aren't. Like there's still, I think these films, when you break down and you get down to the brass tacks of it, these films are set up very similar. And I think like what you said, if you want to see what an Americanized Parasite would be, it would be Joker was spot on, because brass tacks, bottom line, they're very similar. You kind of question, they both kind of leave you asking a lot of the same questions at the end of the day. Was it really the rich and powerful that drove him to this? Was it his mental illness? Was it the lies? Did any of this even really happen? Like,
was it his mom? Right?
Yeah, you don't know. I think there's just so many questions. There's more questions than answers in both these films, and both these writers and directors left these films up for the fans to interpret, for the audience to interpret and take away for what you will from it. So I think at the end of the day, it's hard to pick between these two films because they're very similar.
Yeah, they're very similar. They're also very, very good, both of them.
Yes.
I think they both deserve to be in this category. But I think the problem that Joker has is that you can say it's a comic book movie, and I don't think the Academy is ever going to award Best Picture to a quote unquote comic book movie.
But they used to say that
at the same time, Parasite suffers from the fact that it's a foreign language film, and I don't know if a foreign language film has ever won Best Picture. I can't say that that's true or not, but
so that's exactly the reason I think it will win, because of the political correctness aspect. Like, I think they'll vote for a foreign language picture Like, I hope it wins on its merits, not because of the political praise that it'll get for voting that movie. Does that make sense? Like, well, I think the people voting this are so heavily indebted into what's politically correct that I hope that that's not the reason this movie wins.
I think it wins, and I think it's going to win that, like I said before, and I brought it up for a reason. 16% of the Academy is now actors. The acting in that film is phenomenal. I don't think one actor in that movie did a better job than Joaquin Phoenix to be anywhere in like the best actor category. But as a cast, as an ensemble, the acting in this movie was fantastic. Sure. And I think that's what's going to push it over, is that when you got someone in your same craft appreciating what you're doing. And I think that's really what is keeping Parasite in this conversation is the fact that as an ensemble, it's pretty damn good. It's hard to beat.
Yeah. I mean, there are some weaker performances in Joker not from Joaquin Phoenix, but maybe from like, Mark Maron or maybe Robert De Niro, Thomas Wayne. I thought the mother and Joaquin Phoenix and some of the other clowns that he has in that little clown troupe, I thought those were really good, but there are some weaker performances. I can't pinpoint a single weak performance in Parasite.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a great question, which is, you can point to one-dimensional characters in Joker, right? There's a lot of side characters who are one-dimensional.
Absolutely.
But in Parasite, who is one-dimensional?
No one.
Everyone has something that they've got that they're presenting to everybody else, but then they've also got this other side of something that they're hiding and keeping from mom or dad, or
even the child. The youngest
even
child
the kids.
In there.
The kids, the daughter,
like
the son.
Savant. They think that he's like this amazing artist and stuff like that. And they start picking apart his thing, and he's just a dumb kid. You know?
No,
I
think it's the opposite. They think he's a dumb kid and that he's troubled, and he's showing that in his art, but he's actually, the whole movie relies on the characters in that movie are relying on him. The dude in the basement's relying on him to know Morse code because he's a scout. He picks up that they all smell the same before the dad ever does. So, I don't think it's that he's this amazing artist. I think it's just that, they treat him like he's a problem. That's why they bring the tutor in, because they treat him like he's a problem, when in reality, he's got it all. He's the one that's picking up on everything.
And you're proving Sam's point. He's not a one-dimensional
right,
character.
Exactly. But I'm just saying he's not. I don't think the
point was
that he was an idiot.
No, but the mother thinks that he's a genius because she's essentially saying that when they're looking at the painting.
She thinks the mother. He's troubled, but yeah.
Yeah, they like, she doesn't think he's stupid. But I don't know. I think it just, Sam's point of not having any one-dimensional characters even goes as far as the child actor who's barely seen. Like, you never have a one-on-one, like you never have a close-up of him. I can't think of a single close-up with him.
Yeah, when he's seeing the lights on the inside go on and off,
or when he's eating the cake. Yeah. Or when he's eating the cake.
But he's like he's pushed to almost the role of a like extra, practically, and yet he's one of the pivotal parts to the story.
I agree.
Like, I don't know. It's just.
I think that was left for us as the audience to figure out too, because they weren't pushing him to the forefront of the movie as the key to this to key to all this. Because, honestly, if they would have listened to him from the start, their whole plan falls apart the minute he goes, they all smell the same.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's picking up on all this stuff. Like, they're treating him, like she says, we get the tutor because we pulled him out of school because he's a troubled child and he's wild. So we pulled him out of school and homeschooled him, thinking that it was going to change the way he's acting, and it's not. And he kind of picks up on all of this stuff that they're not picking up on. So he's overlooked, and that makes him a good pivotal character because you kind of overlook him as well.
Like most children at that age are kind of overlooked and kind of disregarded, and
they mostly come at night. Mostly.
What?
That's aliens. That's an alien. That's the little girl in Aliens. They mostly come at night. Mostly. He's got that. She's got the, what's that girl's name? He's got that kind of vibe. I don't know, guys. We're almost 3 hours in. This is like my third podcast of the weekend.
I know. I think we need to tie this up with a nice little bow.
It's a beautiful day outside. I'm looking at my window. I'm like, oh.
There's one thing we haven't talked about still.
Travis is not having fun anymore. We should call it a day.
I am feeling like a parasite. No.
Okay. So Matt has one more point to make. Let's let him make that point.
Fast and Furious.
Oh, you want to talk about?
Come on.
Now it makes more sense why he was like, "Are you sure we moved on from all our fabric clubs?" Earlier, he was like,
"Dude, I can't wait for that movie. Give me that."
Dude, it's balls to the wall.
It is.
Michael Bay might have directed it. Like that's how.
Now Han's alive again, and they got the dude from Tokyo Drift's in this one too. So 2 dudes from Tokyo Drift.
I jumped out of my chair when I saw Han come through that hall, dude.
John Cena's Dominic's little brother. Like you're getting there's so many layers to this movie, man.
My favorite actor in that trailer was the Jungle. I was like, okay, that's my favorite part of this trailer. Like, we're gonna be in the jungle now. There's
John
jungle
driving off cliffs and getting saved by stealth bombers. Like, dude, come on now.
Fast and the Furious is not a cinematic achievement.
I can't wait to talk about that movie on this show.
They're fun, right?
I've seen them all in theaters. Every single one of them opening night.
Yep. There's something to be said. There's room in the cinematic landscape for movies that are just fun. They don't have to be groundbreaking achievements of cinema, but it's just a fun movie.
Speaking of
there's
fun,
plenty of room for those movies. That's
of fun. Travis stopped having it about a half hour ago.
No.
All right. Let's give our ratings. And with your rating, express if you think this movie will win Best Picture.
Okay. Just 4.5. Go see the movie. It should win Best Picture. Yep.
Matt.
Yeah, I'm right there with. I think I'm right there with Sam. I'm gonna go 4. You should see it because it's worth talking about. And I mean, with the competition, I don't know. Yeah, Best Picture, sure.
Travis.
I give it 5. It's in my top 5 movies of the year. So I figure if it's in my top 5, it should get the 5 couch cushions. The only thing is my favorite movie of the year was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Now it's a personal preference. I think the arguments you guys made of why this is a little bit more unique than maybe something we've seen out of there would make it get Best Picture. So I think it definitely has a shot. But do I personally want it to win Best Picture? I go, I like Once Upon a Time. It hits a little bit more of my personal buttons. But hey, Parasite, 5 cushions.
Amen.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it. I was so surprised by this movie. I knew it was going to be good because everybody's been talking about it, but it still surprised me to how good it was. And I think I discounted it because, and this might be my own, bias that I have to work over.
You don't like Koreans.
I discounted it because it's a foreign language film.
That's where I.
And that's horrible. That's horrible for me to say because this stands just like any other movie that I enjoyed. So I would give it a 4.5 out of 5. I would definitely recommend seeing it, and I think it's a toss up between this and Joker for who's going to win.
We all consume a lot of media every week especially for these podcasts and things like that. And so a lot of it, we probably perfected the art of consuming large amounts of media very casually. And honestly, you almost have to, the amount that we consume in order to talk about. But I think we all give certain shrift to certain movies. Like I'm gonna give it my full attention. In a foreign language film, no matter the quality, there is a certain amount of attention that you have to give it just because you have to be reading and then looking at the visuals and doing that. So there is a little bit more hesitation to jump into a film like this because it's not something I can consume and also kind of start dinner over here or, go to as a popcorn flick and things like that as much. So, yeah, I understand. I don't think there's anything to be like ashamed about, I kind of discounted this awful. I don't think you discounted it, Lance. It's probably just more like more hesitant. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and Pan's Labyrinth,
sure. It took you 2 months to get to it.
Pan's Labyrinth is one of my favorite movies I've ever seen. I So I don't know.
How many times have you seen that movie though?
Pan's Labyrinth?
Yeah.
5 or 6.
But now you're going on after you're going on an opinion of seeing it so many times. You have to go back to that original first time you saw it and ask yourself the first viewing, did it take you out of it? It took me about a year. It took me about a year and a half after it came out to watch it the first time. Yeah. So like Sam, I'm sure he watches anime and in subs, and I know I do as well. I can do it for 30 minutes to an hour, but 2 hours and change, it's just like, you can't look away. Like you said, you can't look away. You can't look at your phone. You can't not watch the screen. You gotta, or you miss something. And that's what took me out of this movie. And I think that's what takes me out of it from giving it a 5 and saying that it's this fantastic movie. It definitely is an achievement of film, but there's this personally stuff for me that takes away from it. And it's no fault of the movie.
I think I would have given it a 5. I think I would have given it a 5. And this is no knock on the performance of the actors. I think they did a fantastic job. In fact, I was a little shocked to see none of them nominated for Best Actor, because I thought the father did.
They got it for Golden Globes. It's really tough.
Yeah. But I would have liked it. I would have liked to see it dubbed.
And individually, there's nobody in that film that beats the performance Joaquin Phoenix gave in Joker. But I think as an ensemble cast is where they really shine.
Yeah, I mean the question is, who is the main character?
Right.
The best argument is for the son, the Kim's son, but
I thought the father did a fantastic job.
But he shares a lot of screen time with a lot of different people, and so it's hard to say who the actor is. It's an ensemble performance.
So I know Travis wants to go, but can I ask one question? Should there be an award for Best Ensemble Cast?
I thought there is. Isn't there? Is there not?
I think so.
No.
I
do like that idea. Actually, I do. I really I never thought about that, but I like that.
All right. So
yeah. By the way, also too, guys, I saw Dr. Sleep. I don't have to talk about it, but we were talking about it last thing. Immediately after we got off, I watched it. Enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
So I watched The Shining and Dr. Sleep. My wife watched The Shining for the first time. Dr. Sleep, in watching those two together, it made it even better. But Dr. Sleep was fantastic.
Yeah, I liked it more than I thought I would.
So if you like Dr. Sleep so much, please go watch Outsider.
I'm going to. You need to send me your HBO stuff.
You don't have HBO?
No.
All right, yeah, I'll give it to you. You gave me Vudu. I'll give you HBO. I'll give it to you. I'll pick it to you right now.
So guys, Travis, tell our listeners where they can find you.
ComicExposure.com or on all your major podcast platforms. Check out this week's episode on Robert Kirkman's first volume of Outcast. Matt is a guest on there, and we talk about that book for a good 45 minutes with about 15 minutes leading intro, where we get to find out Matt's first exposure to comics.
Well, and I like to point out too that you got a nice Couch Cruncher's got a nice a nice push on that show too, and a nice credit as being like the sister podcast as to where he calls the Absolute Geek the touchy uncle.
I'm not gonna lay that one down too.
Never.
In my opinion,
stay away from family gatherings.
I feel like it's in my head, I'm like, this is like a really kind of high praise form of compliment for someone, and then I'm like, oh, that was kind of a shitty thing to say. I'm sorry.
It was with due respect.
I think that's Absolute Geeks. I think that's Absolute Geeks' next T-shirt.
I think like the Daddy podcast, since we are more mature content, is more fitting. But the creepy touchy uncle, I didn't see that coming.
I would wear that.
Dude, come on! After
you guys
Kyle's little dinosaur thing last night, come on,
dude, that was hilarious. That was fantastic.
That is spot on. Yeah,
but
Matt, tell. Even though they know, tell everybody how they can find you guys.
I was like, I can't believe I walked into this my first time on this podcast. You invite me on your show, and then you insult me in the first 5 minutes of the show.
In my head, I was like, you know, what's an interesting way to introduce them that people might like, we call it a hook in writing.
Yeah, you can. I'm sure everyone knows, but you can find us every Friday night live on YouTube, 7:30 p.m. Arizona time. We release new episodes live Friday, and then they are available on any of your podcasting platforms on Monday morning. So anywhere you consume podcasts, you can find us.
And Sam and I are with Couch Crunchers, and make sure which you're listening to now. I don't know where I'm going with this. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We are going to be giving away some Funko Pops here pretty soon to one of our lucky YouTube subscribers. And then Sam, is there anything you want to say?
Yeah, you were talking about where you can follow. I followed Lance on the freeway the other day. I saw his car with his Couch Crunchers decal and his Funko Pop collector decal, and I was like, "Hey, there's Lance." And
I
followed him on the freeway.
Did you see my cool new MXPX sticker?
Yes, I saw all the stickers. There were
Travis
lots of
says
stickers.
For a party at my house.
It says
you.
it says Poconacha Punk across my back window. So but no, as always, guys, it's been a pleasure tonight. Fun episode, long episode. And next week we're going to be
like cake for me.
Yeah, this is not long to AG's standards, but next week we're going to be talking about Birds of Prey. So make sure to come and listen to us talk about that, about Margot Robbie returning as Harley Quinn. And until next time, keep on geeking on.